Michelle, Charlotte, Tanya, Lisa. Yes, I am here. It is going to be fun. Donna says good evening from Las Vegas. Yes, Artificial Age tonight. We're going to be having a lot of fun. We're really going to be dissecting this album. And I was really surprised because there's a lot of times when I pull together some information about album chats, about specific albums, and I start breaking things down track by track. And then what ends up happening is it ends up being about 7 or 8 pages worth of content. And it's a lot. It's a lot of verbiage. And I have to go through it and just taking notes and just doing all this stuff. And then, Brian, good evening to you too, sir. Audrey, hello. So we, Trisha, hello. April, hello from Tampa. April, I want to personally thank you so much for single-handedly keeping the celebration out of the park Facebook page alive. We will be doing something with that, but there's a whole bunch of things that are unraveling right now, and until the estate officially mentions I guess the rescheduling of the whole thing, I have to repurpose what I was doing until they do that. Once they do that, then I can start, rebuilding again. But I appreciate you keeping that alive, and I know a lot of people are digging it, and it's really cool. So that's all good. Shanika, hello. Diane from South Carolina in the house. Fantastic. So cool. We got some great news tonight. But anyways, as I was saying, some of these album chats, there's like 7 or 8 pages worth of information, and it's a lot. It's a lot of information. Artificial Age, 14 pages of content. 14. So if you guys are really excited about finding out more information about the tracks on Artificial Age and the songs that are there, I tell you, you are actually you're going to be shocked. There's a lot of cool stuff, even stuff that I didn't know. As I'm kind of researching it and unraveling it, I'm like, oh, shoot, I totally forgot about that. Or things that I should know. Anyways, hey, Lawrence with the smooth cut. Yeah, I guess so. I was noticing, if you look really close, you can see lots of gray in here. It's coming in finally. Luckily, it waited until I was over 50 to start coming in. I know friends of mine who started getting gray hairs in their late 20s and 30s. So it just waited. So that's cool. George from Jacksonville. Charlotte from Dallas. All you guys are fantastic. Thank you guys for coming in. Yeah, this is the pre-show. We just kind of hang out and talk a little bit. We're not going to be hanging out too much long, about 15 minutes, and then we're going to be going right into it. Mary, what's going on? We're going to be going right into it because with so much information that is happening, thank you, Arlene. Yeah, I wasn't trying to be distinguished, but that's what's kind of, it is what it is. Yeah, people are finding out who is. And remember, I said we have a special announcement coming. We have a special announcement about a special guest that is going to be on the show on the 21st. Adam, what's going on? Mary, thank you so much. Love the shirt. Yeah, I had to kind of find something. Leanne, I like this album too. I had to find something to wear that was kind of princely related, and I don't have anything from the Artificial Age phase, like merch or t-shirts or posters or anything. So I just don't have any of this stuff. Giselle, what's going on? How are you? You didn't, Mary, you didn't miss anything. I started it, and then I started the show, and then I realized I wasn't getting any signal, and so I just went ahead and just stopped the broadcast because I wanted to figure out all the technical stuff without having to subject all of you guys to check 1 2, check 1 2. I didn't want you to have to deal with all that, so I made sure that I got all of it resolved so that we can just, when we start moving forward and we start talking, it's going to actually be check. I'm gonna do it anyways. Check 1 2. Yeah, I'm gonna have to move this over here. So, and I know it kind of takes some of the print stuff out of the back of the picture, but I want to make sure that the mic is in front of me or near me anyways, because I want to using one of these fancy blue mics. Have you ever seen one of these things? But they're very, very fancy. And you also have to, one of the things about them is that you have to make sure that they're set up a very specific way. You can't be right on top of it, because if you are, it gets really loud. And so you just got to be careful about, what you're doing. And yeah, anyways, lots of cool stuff. One of the things that I thought was really interesting is that, and we'll talk about it, about, Patricia said, age is just a number. You are young at heart. I know. Yes. Olga from Ventura. Where's Ventura? Lotus Steel Blossom. This is not a rug. This is the real deal. I haven't lost. Well, I don't know if you count these really friggin' high hairlines. If I got a rug, I certainly would get a rug that would cover up these spots for sure. California. Cool. Cali. Yeah, of course. I know Ventura, California. There's a lot of Venturas apparently. But yeah, so it's going to be a lot of fun. One of the things I did know, there is a song that is on this album that is not actually Prince's song. And this was something new that I found out as I was doing research on it. It's not a cover of a song, but musically he ripped the whole song. Like he completely ripped off this whole entire song. And I've got the song and I'm going to play it for you during the album chat tonight. It was really shocking. I was like, what? Because I'd never heard the song before. She's apparently, I guess, some rapper or something out of London. She's a hip hop artist out of London, and the music that is behind one of the songs on this album is completely hers. Like literally, he took her rap off of it. I was gonna say her hip. She took off the hippity hop. He took off the rapping and put his own stuff over it. And obviously he kind of timed it a little bit differently, but I mean, even the same instruments, the same sound, the same everything, nothing changed. It was like he took the music and then laid it down and then put his stuff over the top of it. I was shocked. I had no idea that song belonged to somebody else. And we're going to talk about it tonight on Artificial Age. Yes, he did give her credit. And we're going to talk about it. I promise you. It's like, what? And I'm actually going to play it for you. I'm going to play her song, not the entirety of this song. I'm going to play you about 1.5 minutes of her song. And it's just crazy. It's nuts. I couldn't believe it. So, but yes, Leanne, he did give her credit, which is unusual. And of course, I'm surprised. Keely knows which one it is already. And I'm actually surprised that the artist's name is Mila J, just so you know, Mila J, just by the way. So if anybody gets bored and wants to just can't wait, I have to know now. You can do that. You can go and you can look and find it yourself, and you'll immediately know what song it is once you find it. But anyways, but we'll talk about it. Just hang out, just chill, hang out. I got a question up here in this corner right here. Are you seeing it say Funkatopia album chat, Prince Artificial Age, or are you seeing a live thing? I don't know what you're actually seeing, because you know what's funny is that I was, when we were doing the CeeLo interview, I had a graphic that was in a place up this way, and I saw the live and then the people count and everything. Hey, Michael Dean, what's going on, brother? Mr. Dean in the house, working like a job. You must have the night off. What's up, brother? Long time no talk, man. We gotta catch up. But a lot of people want to know who the special guest is that I'm going to have on the 21st, and I'm about to divulge it to you right at the top of the hour. So once we go into the show here in about 9 minutes, I am going to, we got 2 more songs that are going to be playing on the station itself, which is Lemon Crush. And also 3121. And then we're going to go right into the show. And I'm going to, before I even go into the album chat, I'm not going to make you wait. As soon as we start the show, I'm going to let everybody know who our special guest is. Good. Oh, it's live is over the album chat, the Funkatopia chat. Okay. Well, that may be the way it is here, but I guess I don't know. When I do the video, when I actually post the video, I guess the way that this system does it, it doesn't put the overlay on there, so we're good. Anyways, it is. I'm very, very excited about Funkatopia is doing some next level stuff now. Obviously, we've had a lot of great guests on. We've had, guys from Lettuce. We've had I had the Brand New Heavies on here. I had Simon from the Brand New Heavies on here. Last show, I had CeeLo Green in the house. And when you hear who's going to be on the show on the 21st, you're going to be like, what is happening? I don't understand what's happening. It just doesn't make any sense what's happening. So it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm going to tell you who it is in a mere something like 8 minutes or something like that. So you're going to find out in less than 10 minutes, you're going to find out who this special guest is and is going to get. Is anybody else? April's saying she's getting a lot of freezing up. Is anybody else getting frozen up? Let me see what we're connected to here. No, we're connected to the right place. Anybody else getting any type of connectivity issues? I always want to make sure because I saw some weird activity. It was just like, sometimes I would have like a packed house and everything would be fine. And there would be tons of people listening to the radio station. And then the next hour, it like dropped off significantly. And so I was kind of a little bit concerned that maybe there may be some connectivity issues. And I want to make sure, thank you for confirming that. April, I don't know what the problem is. Thank you guys for all letting me know. So I want to make sure there's no connectivity issues there and we'll just take it. Because between you guys and everybody that we have currently waiting on the radio station for the show to start, it's quite a bit. So we're going to have some fun. We're going to have some fun for sure. Again, tonight, the album chat for Artificial Age. Tons of information. I actually found a couple songs that were supposed to be on this album that did not make it onto the album. Actually, one of the songs got pushed to Hit and Run Phase 1 or Part 1, I guess. Is it phase or part? I can't remember. And then the Phase 1, I believe. And then there was another one from Rita Ora that was supposed to be on this album that also got cut. And I have about a minute and a half clip of that one. We're going to play that for you. So we got lots of different things. Some of the things we're going to be showcasing tonight. Obviously, as we just talked about, one of the songs that's on Artificial Age was almost completely written by this other hip hop artist in London called Mila J. We're going to be talking about that song. We're going to be talking about the track that from Rita Ora that was supposed to be on this album that did not make it onto the album. And we're going to be playing a little track of that. Plus, when the album first came out, Andy Allo was actually on Funkatopia Radio, and she was actually on the station, and we were talking about the songs that she was working with, what it feels like, and time. And she gave a lot of information about some of the stuff that was going on in the back. So I actually went back and pulled that interview and got some of the clips from some of the things she said about those two songs. So we're going to be listening to some clips of some of the things she said. So, oh my gosh. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We got so much. Adriana said she loved the CeeLo chat. Thank you so much. Donna, thank you. Phase is what it is. So we got one more song. 3121's playing right now. And for those of you who may have noticed, they pulled Andy Allo. They pulled her radio show takeover. They pulled it off of SoundCloud because apparently Universal Music Group had an issue with the fact that I played Jimi Hendrix's Crosstown Traffic, which is a song that Andy wanted me to play. And so if you guys wanted to hear that, I will put it up on, I think I'm going to put it up on Patreon for those Patreon supporters so you guys can listen to it. I'm fighting SoundCloud on it because I went ahead and told them, I said, look, I pay ASCAP licensing fees just so I don't have to deal with this. And I had to send them my ASCAP license and I had to do all these things. So anything that you guys wanted to see and you go to SoundCloud and you see that it's not there, don't worry about it. It will be back. We will make sure that we take care of that. Right now, I'm just working with their people. I'm saying, here's the ASCAP license. Jimi Hendrix is on ASCAP. He is an ASCAP artist, so he should be under this. I'm paying for the rights to be able to play this music. So here, take it. Please put it back up. So until they do put it back up, this is all going to be good. Yeah. The Funkatopia, the Funkatopia logo, Funkatopia Live. As you can see, I added the live in there. And if you watched, actually watched the CeeLo interview, the finished edited version of the CeeLo interview, you can watch it on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/user/funk. I don't know what it is. Just go to YouTube and search for Funkatopia and you'll see it there. It will say a gazillion videos posted. And anyways, the finished version actually has an intro, a really cool intro thing, and it's pretty awesome. So we got that, and then all this. So yeah, we're definitely Keely says, you pay your ASCAP off. Yeah, I do. And that's one of the reasons why we need supporters from Patreon, Patreon supporters, so that we can help to offset some of the cost that is involved in some of the cost that is actually involved in paying these ASCAP licensing fees, so that we can play all this music legally and do it legit. And that's what it's all about. Thank you guys so much for all joining us here. And we are just minutes away, like less than 3 minutes away, about less than 2 minutes away from the start of the show. And we are going to be, remember, starting off with a very special guest announcement. So hang tight. It's going to be fun to hear. And I guess I got to get a drink of water and get ready to go. I don't know if anybody has any specific questions about artificial age. Hopefully when you get there, I should answer all of your questions for sure, but it's coming. It's coming. And see, I color coordinated everything too. I had the purple shirt, purple mug, even a purple straw. I was very strategic about everything that I did tonight. So I just want to let you know. Oh, and let you know too, something that we would need to know. I got less than a minute here. Next week, next Tuesday, I will not be here. So there is no there's no Funkatopia live next week on Tuesday. So I'm going to be putting something in its place. But when we get to the following week, what's today? Yeah. So next Tuesday, there will be no Funkatopia live. But then the Tuesday after that, we are coming back swinging. And you're going to want to be in for that. And I'm going to tell you what that is at the top of the hour. All right, got 30 seconds. Hang tight. We're doing this all together. Hope everybody's ready. All right, let's see what we got. And we're going to just take it as it comes. And I hope everybody is ready. Here we go. Everybody ready? I think I am. I have no idea if I'm ready or not. Here we go. Welcome, one and all. It's Mr. Chris with the Funkatopia Radio Show. My chair makes squeaky noises. How is everybody feeling? I hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing good. All right. We're just going to go ahead and just stop the music because we got so much to cover here. It is going to be an amazing night tonight. We are doing the album chat for Prince's album Artificial Age. And I can honestly say, with the exception of his double albums, which, like Sign of the Time and Crystal Ball and all that, well, that was a triple one, whatever. This album had things that were unveiled with this album. So there is a lot of information to get to. Forward to it. I am so glad that you guys are joining us. I also know that a lot of people are tuning in, including all the folks here at Funkatopia on Facebook Live. If you want to join us and be a part of the discussion, you can do that at Facebook/Funkatopia. That's Facebook.com/Funkatopia. Funkatopia. It's just Funkatopia, and sometimes I pronounce it Funkatopia because a lot of people don't know that there's an A in there. And it's, it is what it is. What are you going to do? So if you want to watch this album chat live, you can do that at Facebook.com/Funkatopia. You can also be a part of the discussion. So if you have anything specific that you want to say or talk about, you can do it there. You can ask me some questions. And in between, as I'm playing the songs, because for those who have not tuned in for album chats before, we start the album chats talking about generally what was going on in Prince's life at the time when the album was created. And then what we do is we go in and we talk about each one of the tracks, track by track. And as I'm talking about the track, after I get done doing that, then I actually play the track. And when I play the track, that will be the time that I'll come on and I'll answer all your questions and whatnot. So I hope you guys are ready, because it's going to be a pretty eventful night. But I know that a lot of people also have tuned in to hear the special announcement about the guest who is going to be with us on the 21st. And I'm not trying to prolong it. I'm not making this painful, but I want to kind of explain why it's 21st. We were going to get him on tonight, but we ended up, it was just so much going on that we just couldn't. And next Tuesday on the 14th, I am not going to be here. I am actually going to be out of town. So I'm going to do something special on Tuesday night in place of Funkatopia Live. Maybe it's a concert. Maybe I do a replay of a really awesome, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll leave it up to you guys to give me a little bit of input as to what you would like for me to do on next Tuesday when I'm not here. But then the following Tuesday on the 21st, are you ready? On the 21st, it is my honor to welcome the one, the only, the legend, Bootsy Collins. Bootsy Collins will be on Funkatopia Live, and he will be here's what's going to happen. Bootsy did not want to do a live show. He wanted, because I guess he's just not really too comfortable doing live shows. And so we're doing a whole bunch of things, and there's way more that's coming down the pike, just so we're clear. So it is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be pre-recorded, so you won't be able to ask questions. But what I am going to do is I am actually going to be putting a post on Facebook to allow you guys to go ahead and get some questions and get your questions ready. And so when I do the pre-recorded show, you'll have Bootsy. So there's that. So there's lots of cool stuff. We're going to be talking about that brand new song, Stars. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things. So I hope you guys are ready. And if that's not enough, we are also going to be working with Bootsy moving forward beyond this interview. And he's actually going to be becoming more of an integral part of Funkatopia. And I can't release any of the details on that. We're still kind of talking about lots of different things. So that all being said, it is going to be a lot of fun. Bootsy Collins is going to be on Funkatopia Live on the 21st. So you'll want to tune in 2 weeks from now. And it's not only Bootsy Collins, it's also the First Lady of Funk, Peppermint Patty, is going to be on. So it's Peppermint Patty and Bootsy Collins. And I can't even contain myself. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I hope you guys tune in, because it's going to be a blast. I mean, it truly is going to be a blast. So I hope you guys all are ready for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And so there's that. So, one of the things we've been trying here, and we are, kind of doing things here and there about trying to do multiple things at once. And one of the things that we've been trying to do is do this live show on Facebook Live where you've got the video and you're also being able to hear it on the radio station, and you're also able to see it on YouTube, and all this stuff is all happening live simultaneously. But, we're still making tweaks, and we're still doing things that we want to actually do and make sure that the show is going to be as professional and as good sounding as you would anticipate it being. And so definitely make sure that you send me any emails. If you're listening on Funkatopia Live or on the Funked Up app and you have any questions, or you're saying, maybe, the audio sounds maybe a little bit tinny. It would be better if, there was this, that, or the other. Just, I have a pretty thick skin. I have a pretty thick skin. So if there's anything that you feel like we could be doing a little bit differently, definitely let me know what that is, because we're all about it. And I want to make sure that as many people can enjoy these broadcasts and actually take in this stuff as possible. So it's pretty important that, so I'm actually going to scoot a little closer to the microphone, and hopefully that will make it, that'll make the video audio maybe just a little bit better. But I'm also closer to the camera, which makes things all the more painful for the video watchers. Again, if you want to tune in and watch the video, watch me do the album chat, you can actually do that on Facebook.com/Funkatopia. And I think actually even in my headset, it even sounds a little bit better the closer that I get to this microphone. And so this is definitely better for sure. I'm feeling a very positive vibe. So all that being said, that was a special announcement. Our special guest will be Bootsy Collins on the 21st. We've gotten a lot of amazing guests, and it's been pretty phenomenal. So we've had, the special show on with CeeLo Green. And of course, before that, we had Brand New Heavies, and now we've got Bootsy Collins. And it appears that we're actually going to be moving forward and doing some more things that are kind of gonna put us on kind of a different level. And so I'm really trying to be careful, because I want to make sure that I actually am able to maintain the personal relationship that I have with all of you. And it's just going to be, it's going to be a lot of fun. So again, the 21st, 2 Tuesdays from right now, 1 Tuesday from right now, we won't be here, but we'll be doing something very, very special for sure. On the 21st, 2 Tuesdays from right now, it is my honor to welcome Peppermint Patty, the First Lady of Funk, and the one and only legendary Bootsy Collins. And I will be doing a post on Facebook. So if anybody has any questions for Bootsy that you want to ask him, you can go ahead and get them together. And then we're going to be pre-recording the show and then airing it on the 21st for you guys. And then I don't know what the timing is going to be on that. So we will, at that point, may fill it with something else, maybe play some more deep cuts or just have some fun. We don't know what we're going to do. So that all being said, thank you for that. And there you go. So now we can move forward into the album chat for Artificial Age. And I hope you guys are ready, because as I said, Artificial Age is amazing. It's a fantastic album, and we are about to do the discussion for it. So go ahead and get comfortable. Everybody get settled in. Here it is, the album chat for Prince's 37th studio album, Artificial Age. So if you're ready, let's do this. Artificial Age was released 4 years after his album Sign of the Times. I'm sorry, after his album Sign of the Times, after his album 2010. But to make up for the wait, he not only dropped this album, but he also dropped 2 albums the exact same day. And when I reviewed the album when it came out, I gave it 5 out of 5 afros. That was how we kind of did. That's how we did it. We did like 2 out of 5 afros, 3 out of 5. I gave this one 5 out of 5 afros, which earned one of many retweets and Facebook posts from Prince, which of course I was honored by. I was very honored to get, it wasn't the first time that he had Facebook posted or tweeted about Funkatopia, but it was one of the first time. No, it wasn't one of the first times. He had done it quite a bit. I don't know where it fell in, but it earned a tweet at that point. And then I reviewed Plectrum Electrum shortly afterwards, but I only gave that one 4 out of 5 afros. And that's when I learned that Prince was not a fan of that review. He went dark on me for over a month. And I only reviewed it that way Plectrum Electrum. I only reviewed it that way because I had set for myself some improper expectations. And I thought that we would be hearing a lot of, and we'll be talking about, I know that I've skipped over Plectrum Electrum and kind of, leapfrogged over it and went to Artificial Age. And I also skipped over Bria Valente's album too. But one of the things that the reality of it is that I just, I don't know. I want to make sure that those particular albums, because of the fact that the fan base for them isn't as wide as it is for Prince's actual albums, I want to make sure that something really special is being done, like having Bria on the show or having Ida on the show or having Hannah on the show or it's somebody. And I had set improper expectations for myself in regards to Plectrum Electrum because I thought for sure that there would be instrumentals that were also included on there, such as Octopus Heart or Chapter and Verse, Menstrual Cycle. And it just didn't end up that way. So I thought if they would have released Plectrum Electrum and then like dripped in some of those instrumental songs to kind of really flesh it out and give it a more artistic vibe, it would have been better. And that's the only reason why I shorted it 1 Afro out of the 5 out of 5 Afros, whatever. But anyways, he eventually came back and he allowed me back in, but that was a pretty painful month because, you get a lot of traffic that's coming off of, Prince's Mention, and then he goes dark on you. And it's just, it is what it is. But here is an album, Artificial Age, that to me was probably one of my favorites in a very long time. And when I went online to kind of look at some of the other people's feedback on the album, there's a lot of people that do not like this album. And I don't know why. I kind of felt like I was in the right place. I felt like I was in, I don't know what the actual, I don't know. I felt like it had a really good consistency and flow to it. It was just highly polished and it had really good nuance and storyline and all these really cool hidden sound effects. And it also featured someone that I was not familiar with before this, a gentleman by the name of Joshua Welton, who we also interviewed. Michael Dean also interviewed him as well. And so was Funkenberry. So a lot of people have interviewed Joshua Welton and his new movement that he has called the Purple Movement that you should definitely check out. thepurplemovement.org, I think is what it is. Definitely check that out, but it's really cool. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about that or any time actually, but Prince spent a lot of time with Joshua teaching him all of his tricks of the trade and ultimately divulging to the public that Joshua was one of the first people that he felt that he could completely trust to produce one of his albums. And when I interviewed Joshua, I asked Joshua last month about one trick that he felt like was the best takeaway from that masterclass with Prince, I guess is what we'll call it. And he said space. That silence in between the notes and how important it is to focus on the usage and effectiveness of that space, trying to figure out exactly, the more that you use that space, that silence, it's just that vastness in between the notes can say so friggin' much. And I would have to completely agree. Although one of the things I did say is that one thing I did note about Prince was that it always felt like he filled a lot of that space with something. It never felt like there was a whole bunch of silence on Prince's albums. Like June, I think, was one of the few songs that felt like it had a lot of space, but even in that space, there was like a sustained chord that was kind of, flowing all the way through it. So it was never, I don't know. Anyways, it was just the timing of it, I guess. Anyways, the label that this was released on, Artificial Age, was NPG Records, although he had come up with an exclusive licensing agreement with Warner Brothers, which made everybody's head explode. Prince's writing of the word slave on his face in the 90s when he appeared on, I guess it was David Letterman, that was marking. And he eventually escaped his contract with Warner Brothers and then enjoyed his, I'm using air quotes, emancipation from the label for a good bit of time, a good many years. And then earlier in 2014, Just months before the release of these two albums, Artificial Age and Plectrum Electrum, he re-inked another deal with Warner Brothers. And there was another label that he was working with, or that he tried to work with, and it didn't work for whatever. I don't know what it was. It was run by L.A. Reid, who was it EMI? No, Epic. He was with Epic. And L.A. Reid kept telling him, look, I will help you explode this, and I'll show you how effective I am. Give me the music, go down to your car and turn on the radio, and you'll hear your song. That's how quickly he was trying to impress Prince, obviously. But for whatever reason, it didn't work out. So anyways, essentially the reason why he went back was because he had a little bit of a slight advantage. The original contract gave Prince back full control of his masters 35 years after its official release. And now, at this point, his albums were slowly beginning to get untangled from Warner Brothers one by one. When his first album, For You, hit that mark, I guess in 2013, or I think it was something. Yeah, I think it was 2013. It hit that mark. And Warner Brothers realized that they needed to get ahead of this quickly as his bigger albums started to hit that 35-year mark, because then you're talking about the self-titled one, and then you're talking about Dirty Mind, and then Controversy in 1999, and then Purple Rain, and they start getting bigger as time goes on. And April of 2014, Warner Brothers said, okay, we got to figure something out here, because we just don't want to just be, not be able to make any money whatsoever. And what was really kind of cool was that another thing had happened that I just read about. Funkenberry posted a post that somebody else had posted. It was a repost of a repost of a repost. And Susan Rogers, who was Prince's producer for a lot of his big albums, including Purple Rain all the way through Parade and blah, blah, blah. And this was back in the day, pre-internet, obviously, and all that, where she was contacting the records department at Warner Brothers and contacting the guys that, managed all the recordings and whatever. And she would say, oh, Prince really wants the recordings of this, that, and the other, because, we need to kind of reference this type of stuff. Can you send that to us? And then we'll send it back. And they were like, oh yes, absolutely. Just anything for Prince. And so they would send him or send her all of these recordings of this stuff that was not released. And she started cataloging them. And of course, she never sent them back. And she's one of the reasons why, what this article said, she's one of the reasons why this vault exists in its monstrosity, in the voluminous caverns of music. She's one of the reasons why it's like that, because he was always having to cross-reference or wanting her to pull up stuff that he had recorded months ago. And so she just felt it was easier just to create a room, a safe place to kind of keep these recordings. And she was actually part of this whole process. Anyways, in April of 2014, Warner Brothers and Prince sat at a table and they came up with this new deal. And because these albums were kind of being released piece by piece, Warner Brothers decided, let's just rip off the Band-Aid, and we're going to go ahead and give Prince all of his albums back that he had while he was on Warner Brothers, in exchange for the ability to renew their license, which kind of would give Prince a much wider distribution, because while Prince was enjoying the freedom away from Warner Brothers, one of the things that he probably realized really quickly was, when you release an album on Warner Brothers, the distribution that they have to push music out as quickly and as widely as they could was something that Prince just did not have the capability to be able to do on his own. But Prince would get the wider distribution. He would get full say-so about what gets released. Plus, Warner Brothers would be able to do the reissues of Prince's albums, similar to what we saw with 1999 Super Deluxe, and obviously the upcoming Sign of the Times Super Deluxe as well. Now, kind of going down a little bit of a rabbit hole here, but I know that's kind of like why you like to tune in sometimes. Some conspiracy theorists say that the signing of this contract was completely in favor of Warner Brothers, because while the contract did give Prince back control of his catalog, there wasn't much, if any at all, verbiage about what would happen if Prince should die. There wasn't an heir apparent. There was nothing that kind of addressed that. So the focus was almost completely about Prince and his control of the masters, but not much about the passing of that baton should he not be with us anymore. So those conspiracy theorists that are out there firmly believe that once Warner Brothers had that contract in writing, allowing them the ability to distribute and sell those albums that he had created underneath Warner Brothers, they had Prince killed, knowing that there wasn't anything in the way of them reaping all of the rewards of Prince not being in the picture. That's a conspiracy theory, but it does kind of lend itself to a little bit of it's a theory. It's a conspiracy theory. I'm not saying I believe it either way. I honestly and firmly believe that there was something going on with his passing. His death still has a lot of unanswered questions, and everybody here there's not a Prince fan out there that does not believe that this was all clean and tied up with a bow. Nobody believes that. There's something else that happened. Now, I've entertained these conspiracy theories in the past, and there have been folks that I've spoke with in detail, including one time I had a psychic on. She called herself something else, not a psychic, but Abigail Noel was on the show, who was convinced that Prince was poisoned, specifically poisoned by his chef. He said something about cyanide. I can't remember what she said. There was something that she said that the chef had put into one of his shakes, and Prince knew something was going on. Anyways, then of course you have his cousin Chaz Smith, who has been an ardent and very large voice in the quest to reveal the truth about Prince's passing. And in almost all of the, again, I'm using air quotes, murder theories, Warner Brothers comes up as a suspect somewhere in the mix at some point. Whether or not Warner Brothers did it through the chef or whatever, they just feel like Warner Brothers had something to do with it. I don't know. I'm not saying it. Please, I'm just things that people are saying. That's it. All of that being said, we're not here to discuss that aspect of it. I am going to revisit that at another time, and I'm going to give that an entire show. I'm going to invite Abigail Noel on the show. Maybe I'll invite Chaz on the show. We're going to have a show, and we're going to talk about these theories. And it's going to be controversial. It's going to be ridiculous, and it's coming. I'm working on it, just so you know. It's going to be pretty amazing. Anyways, sorry, that's a rabbit hole. But all in all, this is a tumultuous time for Prince, as he filed suit against 20 people online for posting his music without permission, including there was like one lady that filmed her toddler dancing in the kitchen to Let's Go Crazy or something. It really didn't do any favors for him, and it definitely didn't give him any new fans. And I once again, me being me, I once again received Prince's ire when I commented on Prince's illegal activity in an article that I did on Funkatopia called, I can't remember what I called it. It's still up on Funkatopia. You can find it. It was like something like Prince's Guide to How to Kill Your Marketing in One Easy Step or something like that. I don't remember what it was. It was something like that. It was How to Kill Your Marketing in One Step or something like that. Anyways, I had some friends that worked at Paisley Park, and they told me he was pissed. But it had to be said. It had to be said. And I had also received my first cease and desist letter from Paisley Park because I was trying to help. I was trying to help him promote. I think it was Black Sweat or something. I can't remember what it was. Promote him on YouTube, and I had played a clip of the song, and I immediately called my friend Rob Rhythm, and I said, I finally hit the big time. Because I had this, and at one point I printed it out and I framed it. I have no idea what happened to it. I wish I would have still had it, and I can't find it anymore, but for some reason, I was so proud of that. Anyways, so let's talk about the album a little bit. I'm sorry. I I try to do a little bit of background story and kind of give you a little bit of background on what was happening in Prince's life around the time that the album came out. And that's one of the things. And there was another surprise about this album is that there was supposed to be a short song with Rita Ora on this album called The Single Most Amazing. And it really would have been a great track addition, but it didn't make the cut. But guess what? I happened to get a hold of it. Well, not all of it, just a clip of it. So I wanted to spend at least a minute 17 checking out this little track from Rita Ora called The Single Most Amazing. So we're going to listen to a little piece of it right here. If I can, we'll see. Here we go. Here's a little clip of The Single Most Amazing from Rita Ora that was supposed to be on this album, Artificial Age. Sorry. All right. So that was The Single Most Amazing. The people on Facebook Live are saying, can't hear it. Can't hear it. Sorry. So we have to figure that out. I tell you what I'll do. I'm going to move some of these tracks from, I know that everybody on the radio station heard it fine, but Facebook Live did not. So what I'll do is I'll actually move the tracks over to the radio station. And then when I play it, I can actually turn up on for you guys so you can hear it on Facebook Live. My apologies. So I will make sure that we get that resolved ASAP. This is part of the fun. It's just, let me see if I got it here. Let's do this one more time, just so the people can hear it, since it was only a minute and 17, just so the people can hear it on Facebook Live. Let's go ahead and play this song one more time. This is a minute of it, so you guys can hear it, and then we'll play it from here. Here, give me just a second. Here we go. Let's try this. You can hear that, I'm sure. And that was The Single Most Amazing. So there's that song right there. So sorry I got to play it again. We'll cut that out in the edit. It won't be in the video. It's all good. We're good. So that was a song that was supposed to be on this. And I can hear it. I mean, you could hear the different horn parts and things that were in there that kind of provide a little bit of a consistent thread throughout the album. And I can probably imagine where it would fit. My guess is that it would be somewhere somewhere around Breakfast Can Wait. This could be us. It kind of has that feel to it. So that's probably where it's at in that regard. So anyways, there's that. Anyways, when the album was about to be released, it was available for pre-order on an official Warner Brothers created website. I think it was artificialage.com. And for those who don't, it's artofficialage.com. And when the album first came out, I remember I didn't, for some reason, I didn't read it fast. I didn't read it. Artificial Age. I got the album and I was like, Art Official Age is how I introduced it on the radio show. And I'm sure that Prince probably rolled his eyes and was like, this dumbass. But anyways, there's some artwork on there too that I don't know the font that they use to put Artificial Age. The A's look like fingers. It's kind of like rounded like a finger. And like there's a circle in the middle of that curve that there's a circle that kind of makes it look like it's a fingernail. And then the O kind of looks like a pill or a tablet or something. I feel like there's something there, but I scoured the internet to try to find out, the artist and kind of research the artist and figured out, and I didn't even bother to even write down her name, but I was trying to figure out exactly what the point was with the way that she designed that. And I think it was just a choice that she made in just the font, but it seems like there's something else there. But anyways, that all being said, it was available for pre-order on artificialage.com. And that started like August 25th of 2014. And it was also available for pre-order on iTunes USA. And Prince seemed to be taking his appearances and availability a little more seriously. While he didn't have, he had already done the Super Bowl, he really didn't have, that type of reach this time around. So what he decided to do was the next best thing was he appeared on an episode of Zooey Deschanel's show New Girl, and it was like a party being thrown at his house, and that episode aired right after the Super Bowl. So he kind of managed to get a hold of millions of people's eyeballs. Anyways, he wasn't in the Super Bowl this time, but this time around he actually managed to at least get some of the traffic from there for sure. And he also unveiled a new song on that episode called Fall in Love Tonight, which was another song that should have been on the album that was not. And it also featured Zooey on vocals. And supposedly, if you listen very closely to that episode with headphones, there is even more music that was composed by Prince that is layered lightly in the background. I took a listen to it and I could hear a lot of things going on, but nothing that I was, that I felt worth capturing and playing for you guys. So if I can figure out some way to get a hold of some of that stuff that's layered in the background, I absolutely will do it for you. Anyways, the album would officially be released in late September 2014 around the world. The 26th of September in the UK and most of Europe, the 29th of September, specifically in UK, and the 30th in the US. And the album reached number 1 on the Billboard Top R&B Hip Hop Albums chart, number 1 on the Billboard R&B Albums chart, and number 5 on the Billboard 200. And it also entered the main charts in Europe, Australia, Japan, and it reached the top 5 positions in Denmark, France, Japan, Norway, Switzerland, the Netherlands, and also the top 10 positions in Austria. And one of the reasons for that really was because of the fact that Prince and Third Eye Girl went over to London and just started doing all these shows, just started appearing in like all these clubs and venues. And it wasn't really there to really support anything. It wasn't there to support any albums. So it wasn't really, it really wasn't there for anything specific. And so people were like, why are they doing that? Yeah, we kind of were able to, we've kind of seen these things pop up online. And yeah, we just saw the Fall in Love Tonight. And that was made available. And there was like, that can't be it. And sure enough, he just got a lot of traction. And as far as the album was concerned, Prince told Star Tribune, he said, I finally got something that is a cohesive statement. He said, every number 1 song, every top 10 song, every song in the top 40 right now is at least 6 months old. He said, we should be able to make music and put it out now. And that was his main contention with Warner Brothers anyways, was because he was generating and churning out all this music and Warner Brothers wasn't releasing it when he wanted to release it. So that was the biggest thing. And he also complained more about radio, wondering if program directors really even direct their programs. He said, I don't need to be on radio. I've been on radio all my life. And as far as the storyline for Artificial Age, it is an individual, Mr. Nelson, who gets awakened from a cryogenic induced sleep 45 years in the future. I think I read something too that somebody else had a theory that he was an alien from 45 years in the future and they were waking him up in the present, was somebody's theory. But that didn't make any sense because we're not communicating telepathically, as it's, I don't know. Anyways, a lot of weird folks. So now, finally, yes, that's the background for the album. Let's talk about the individual tracks and, kind of get into some of these surprises and stuff and talk about all this stuff. So the first song on the album is Artificial Cage. Artificial Cage is another pretty poignant song from Prince that's about race and class war and how we are all wrapped up in this invisible cage around ourselves. And we're basically limiting ourselves because, based on a cage that isn't even there. It's like, it's a mindset. It's like you're kind of trapped in your own head. It's like, the glass ceiling really isn't there. It may seem like it's there, and there may be some things that are in place in the world that make it seem like you're being held back by individuals and people that are external to you. But the reality of it is that it's not really there. You need to break free. You need to remove those mental constraints from your mind and break free and just get loose. Go around it. If it's a glass ceiling, it has to have an edge somewhere. Go around it. Go some other way. That's essentially what the song is. And it's, of course, it's got a huge focus on racial injustice, and that is still strong here. It's just as poignant as, I was actually I'm not going down a rabbit hole, but I did want to mention this. I was listening to Funkatopia Radio today, as I do, because I have to. And I was listening to Gil Scott-Heron's The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. And he was even commenting all the way back there in the 70s about, how about the police's injustice to, people of color and just everything that was going on. And I was thinking to myself, hey, God bless, those messages were still out there even 50 years ago. Those messages were still out there, and we can't say, we've made progress. Don't get me wrong. We've made some progress, but the fact that it's still an issue that it's still prevalent in society 50 years later, that it was, I just can't, and obviously it goes way beyond that, but as far as documented in song and music, it's just like, God bless. It's just, anyways, as I mentioned, the focus on racial injustice is still strong. The lyrics, louder than a bomb since the day of my birth, got me second class when I got here first. That's a direct reference to the fact that blacks and Indians were here in this country before Columbus hit Plymouth Rock. They were already here. White folks showed up on Plymouth Rock and said, nope, this is us. This is us. We're here. And it's part of that twisting of history. If you're a Netflix junkie, they actually have, like, I can't remember the name of that show. Maybe some people on Facebook Live will remind, but there's a show that kind of talks about some of the stuff that historically has been proven. And we just teach our kids something totally different in school. And anyways, that's one of them. It also makes reference to the gentrification of neighborhoods that kind of has been happening for quite a while now, with lyrics such as, ghettos to the left of me, malls to the right. Essentially saying that you can't expect anything if you don't fight for it. And if you don't fight for anything, at least you'll have a place in heaven somewhere in the future. Anyways. Ultimately, it's about freeing your mind from the artificial cage, as I mentioned before. The song opens with bassist Ida Nielsen. You hear her hollering. You hear that girl that seems to be yelling at the beginning of it. That's Ida. And she is speaking loudly in Danish. And a lot of people were like, what is she saying? She's sometimes hollering. If you translate what she's saying in Danish, it says, ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens and everything in between, welcome to the hour. You need to do something that will change your life forever. Open this cage. So when we start this song and you hear that girl yelling in the background, that's Ida, and that is what she's saying. Again, she's saying, ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens and everything in between, welcome to the hour. You need to do something that will change your life forever. Open this cage is what she's saying. As far as who is on this particular song, it's Prince on all vocals and instruments, except for Joshua Welton on some unidentified instruments. He did a lot of percussion in some various places, so you can expect that. Ida Nielsen, as I just said, doing some of the Danish vocals in the background, also doing background vocals. The Golden Hippie. I don't know who that person is. I meant to research that, and I just read it, and I was like, oh yeah, I meant to look into that. The Golden Hippie, background vocals. And String Genius on strings. The first and only time this song has been played live was actually just an instrumental clip that was during a sampler set, and that's the only known performance of this song, but it happened on February 26th, 2016 in Burswood, Washington. I'm sorry, Burswood, Australia, WA. I guess that's West Australia, I guess. It was in Australia, February 26th, 2016. It said Burswood, WA, so that's the reason why I said Washington. We're so stupid. Anyways, welcome home, class. We've come a long way. Here it is, the first track on Artificial Age. Finally, it's Artificial Cage right here on the Funkatopia radio show. Enjoy. All right. Let me see everything that you guys have said. There's Ida. That was the part I was talking about that was yelled by Ida. That's on there now. Want to make sure I'm not showing up. Check. God, I'm not. I never know what's happening. How's everybody doing? Everybody doing good? Okay. Yeah, I do want to turn up the music. But the other thing, too, is that whenever I play music on here, it ends up getting muted by YouTube. So, anyways. Yeah, Andre, I know it's too quiet, but I've got to be careful again, because if I play it too loud, then YouTube automatically mutes this whole entire area, so we won't be able to capture any stuff, which is perfectly fine. I'm okay with it. Because when we actually do the video or the audio or whatever, these parts are not going to be here. So everybody having a good time? Everybody good? We're good. Any questions so far? We got lots of music coming, lots more surprises. What's up, Brian? What's going on? Yes, no, I know that everybody's talking about Gil Scott-Heron. Spent tons of time in DC. What Renee said? Renee said he rented a mansion that is 3 blocks from her now. Renee, look at you living in a neighborhood with mansions. Look at you, 3 blocks away. I have never seen Gil Scott-Heron live. I'm glad that somebody here has. He's pretty amazing. There actually is a special on Netflix that's actually a concert that he did. That's really, really cool that you can probably find. If it's still there, I don't know. We'll see. Yes, Renee, Gil did die in 2011. He died from HIV. Even though I don't know how exactly he contracted it, but I know that he did die from AIDS, and that happened in 2011. Doug, the Golden Hippie, Marissa Jack, occasional background vocals, and dancer with the Third Eye Girl Band. Oh, thank you, Doug. What are you doing? Look at Doug doing the research. Thank you, Doug. Doug is another good friend of mine. He's actually out of Atlanta. I know that somewhere in here, maybe possibly, my daughter Jaden is probably watching too. How you doing, Jaden? Jolie is probably not watching. She could care less about what I do. I love her dearly, but she normally, anyway. Oh, 25 seconds. Gotta go back on. All right. We got lots more stuff. Yeah, keep the questions coming. I will scroll up and I'll look at the questions. Now it's going to be a lot less time between stuff. So here we go. And that was Artificial Cage, the first song on Artificial Age. So that is the first track. Man, we finally got to it too. I mean, how much, what time is it? It took us 45 minutes to get to that first song. We did so much talking about our special guest that we're going to have and all this other stuff. It's just silly. So here we are. Now, track 2 on this album is called Clouds. It was offered as a pre-order download. So if you pre-ordered the album, Clouds basically was available for you to immediately download right out of the gate. And it dropped around 5 weeks before the album actually dropped. And Leanne LeHavis, who was amazing. For those of you who do not know Leanne LeHavis, all I can do is I can just tell you, just go on to Spotify and just check out her first few albums. They're all great. I mean, her music is just so phenomenal. She's got this really cool vibe. Leanne LeHavis is amazing. Anyways, Leanne, a lot of people didn't even know who she was until Prince put her on this album, all over this album. And so the world ended up getting a pretty big dose of this brilliant artist from over the pond. As I said, many didn't know who Leanne was until women around the world got some serious jealousy when they found out that during a tour of London, Prince not only did set up a press conference, but also a little bit of a mini concert that he performed in Leanne LeHavis's living room, which is just ridiculous. If you can even just stop for a moment and just imagine that Prince is coming through your town and he says, "Hey, can I do a press conference and maybe, a little mini concert right in your room? It would just be me sitting on a stool with an acoustic guitar and I'll just jam. That's okay?" And we're like, yes, please. That's perfectly fine. Leanne said, "It is pretty unbelievable that Prince is coming to my house, but it is true," she said, right when she found out about that this was going to happen. She said, "It will be a pleasure to welcome him into my humble home and play some music with some dear friends by candlelight. I couldn't be more excited." Prince discovered Leanne via the internet when he saw her perform. I guess, I don't know what song it was he saw on YouTube or something, but he wanted to meet her. And he finally did when she came into the States to tour to support her album from 2012 called Is Your Love Big Enough? And when she came through, Prince invited her to Paisley Park to do a little bit of a jam session and hang out. And she said, "He heard my music somehow 2 years ago and decided that he wanted to meet me." This is what she told the magazine Gigwise in 2014. And she said, "So after a show in New York, I went to Paisley Park, Prince's studio outside of Minneapolis, and we listened to music and had some crudités and tea, and he had PG tips. It was surreal." For those of you who don't know what PG tips are, I didn't either. I had to look it up. Apparently, it's a brand of tea. And it's a really, really good tea, apparently, because Prince went out of his way to buy it and was familiar with it. I've never seen PG tips. I've seen Lipton and Bigelow and all these other ones, but I've never seen PG tips. So I had to look it up. So if you didn't know what PG tips was, it's a tea. It's a brand of tea. Anyways, the relationship would continue as she appears on a few tracks on Artificial Age, but also played this song, Clouds, with Prince in an 8-minute rendition on Saturday Night Live. So Prince appeared on Saturday Night Live and Leanne came on the show with him and they did an 8-minute rendition of this. I think it was edited for the show. But he even sat in with her, I guess on one of her shows, and played on piano with her, playing one of her songs called Lost and Found during his gig in Coco in London. And that is when he announced that he would be touring with Third Eye Girl and would be coming through London. And Leanne just kind of was kidding around and said, "Oh, you should stop by my house." And Prince replied, "House February 4th." And then he scheduled a press conference at her house and set up a stage with lights and a smoke machine in her living room. And he even used her bedroom as his own dressing room. The song Clouds, this song that we're about to play, has Leanne LeHavis setting up a theme that kind of starts the thread, I guess, of that goes through the whole storyline of this album, where Prince has moved on from the life that he remembers, and he's being awoken from a frozen state after being thawed out decades later. Joshua Welton actually tried his hand at remixing this track, Clouds, and then only to end up creating a brand new track that was called Mr. Nelson, and they put it on Hit and Run Phase 1. But it should have ended up here, but I guess the remix didn't kind of work in the flow of the album. So they just took it and put it on Hit and Run Phase 1. But if I had to guess, maybe it would be somewhere around Affirmation 1 or 2 or something. I don't know. It's somewhere, maybe Way Back Home. I don't know. Somewhere in there. But anyways, that's Joshua Welton's attempt at remixing Clouds. Just ended up being called another song and anyways, Leanne said, "Honestly, I really enjoyed his company. When I worked with him, it felt like I was really special. He actually just said, 'Why don't you come to Minneapolis for the weekend?' And then I ended up lending my vocals to the album, and I was so excited and still am. Every time I hear it or think about it, I just still can't believe that it happened." She said of Prince, "He's really lovely and he's funny. Everything he says is right. He's one of those people that has the perfect comeback to every comment. And he's just incredibly smart and charismatic. I think he just wants to remain as private as he can, though he's just this massive star. And I must stress, he is a lovely guy." As for song content, as I mentioned before, it starts off with a radio tuning into a station and even begins with a little kind of transistor monitor mono sounding mix or whatever at the beginning. And then it opens up to stereo and it becomes a song. And then it features Leanne LeHavis singing a bridge that says, "When life's a stage in this brand new age, how do we engage? Bullying just for fun. No wonder there's so many guns. Maybe we're better off in space." And then it starts the official storyline thread where she is getting Mr. Nelson to wake up and get acclimated, as well as explaining what has happened and where he is, which is essentially 45 years into the future, and that he has been given a medication that put him into the suspended animation for 45 years, and that he may appear a little groggy. He may be a little groggy. I've never heard anyone in the States ever use that word, groggy. I love it. I have to figure out how to start adding it into my regular conversation. Groggy. I'm feeling groggy. Anyways, it also gives some romantic advice as well about just randomly walking up and kissing your woman on the neck when she doesn't expect a kiss on the neck. She doesn't expect. Or when she's in the shower, getting in the shower with her and taking a flower and rubbing it on her back. Rub it on her back. Rub it on her back. And, you know what else? You know what else I hear works? I also hear that all the sisters like it when you lick them on the knees. You don't believe me? No? Do it once, then stop. She'll be begging, please, please, please. I'm telling you, I heard that. I heard that somewhere. That all the sisters like it when you lick them on the knees. It's a different album, but it's all good advice. It's Prince on all vocals and instruments. Joshua Welton, again, unidentified instruments. He does a lot of percussion and whatnot. Leanne LeHavis on vocals. First time this song was ever played live, October 18th, 2014 at Paisley Park Studios in Chanhassen. And then April 9th, 2015 at the Fox Theater in Detroit, Michigan. So here it is, song number 2, Clouds, on the Funkatopia radio show. You are listening to the album chat for Prince's album, Artificial Age. Here you go, track number 2. What's going on? Dangerous. Branham's in the house. Oh. Brian said he went ahead and ordered PG Tips. Yes. Yes, Way Back Home is going to be on here soon, so we'll be talking about that. No, Andre, it's PG, like parental guidance, PG Tips. What's going on, Greg? What's going on? Dangerous in the house. Elena, Clouds, this is your jam, huh? Lots of stuff going on online. All right. Keely says she's on her 5th box of PG Tips since lockdown. So, who's that? Brian, you said you ordered some PG Tips. I like tea myself, but every single morning when I get up in the morning, I just end up doing. I just end up making coffee just because it's just there's not the steeping process. I just drink it. So I'm a coffee person by far, but I definitely want to try PG Tips for sure. I want to try PG Tips. I want to try it out. Let's see what else we got here. Elena Keely said it's delicious. Well, it should be. Prince always wanted the best, so we'll make sure that I get. I'm gonna actually. Let's see if I can order. Brian, how much was the PG Tips on Amazon? Let me see if I can go on Amazon and Facebook is telling me. Facebook is already telling me that part of my video is being muted because of music. See, this is what I was talking about. The louder that I play music, they continue to mute. They'll mute this video. Now, when you guys see this live, what's going to end up happening is that a lot of the stuff that I say is going to be muted because if I'm not talking when the music is playing, then it's just, I don't know. So you guys will have to watch a video, listen to the song itself on the radio station because I'm not going to mute you guys there. But yes, PG Tips is a brand of tea. And Leanne Havis was talking about how when she went out to Paisley Park, that her and Prince, she said Prince had PG Tips. It was lovely. And I looked it up and Andre, you're something else. Yeah. So anyways, we're going to continue on. Man. Don't care, man. Not going to be brought down by these powers that be, man. All right, 25 seconds before we come back on. Oh, what's next? Breakdown is next. You guys ready for that? 10 seconds. And that was Clouds on the Funkatopia radio show. That's track number 2 on Prince's album Artificial Age. And if you're just joining us, that's what we're doing. We are in the middle of an album chat for that album, where we're talking about each one of these tracks bit by bit, track by track, and giving you a lot of history. Got some really cool surprises coming up too. I guess it's a couple songs away from now. We got some really cool surprises and clips and whatnot. So I hope you guys are going to hang with us. We got lots of cool stuff coming up. For those that tuned in late and wanted to know who our special guest was that was going to be appearing on Funkatopia Live on the 21st, 2 weeks from right now, We will be joined by the legendary Bootsy Collins will be joining us on the radio show next 2 Tuesdays from now. The next Tuesday, we're going to have to do something special because I will not be here. So we're not going to be doing a live show next Tuesday. But then when we come back, we're coming back with a vengeance, and we're going to be joined by Bootsy Collins and the First Lady of Funk, Peppermint Patty. So it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a great show. It will be pre-recorded because he's not feeling the live things. That's perfectly fine. We're okay with that. But I will be giving you guys an opportunity on Facebook to kind of ask your questions in advance, and I'll make sure that I bring them with me to ask them on the recording, and we will just take it from there. It's going to be fun. So that all being said, let us continue with the next song on this album, Artificial Age. The song is called Breakdown. When it was originally released, the song was called The Breakdown. It was released 5.5 months before the album, and in March 2014, Prince told Arsenio Hall that it was currently his favorite song, but the song had already had been around for a little bit. But he said, there's a song we've just written called The Breakdown. One of the things that we try to do, though, is wait until we have other songs that go together with our favorites, and that's why it takes a long time to come out with albums these days. Not being under contract, there's no rush. And the song was debuted kind of early, or kind of quite a bit early, actually, because DJ Rashida actually played it prior to Prince's DJ set on January 19th, 2013 at the Dakota Jazz Club and Restaurant in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And on the Third Eye TV show, number 4, I don't know if you guys remember that, but Third Eye Girl used to have this, I guess they called it a TV show, but it was just like a video broadcast that would pop up on YouTube just randomly. And there was this person that was talking during the event that announced that Donna Grantist and Hannah Ford had been recording parts for Breakdown that evening at Paisley Park Studios in Studio C. And speaking of Studio C, I do want to make a call out to PRN alumni, prnalumni.org. That's Prince Rogers Nelson, prnalumni.org. They actually have everything that you do or that you buy from prnalumni.org goes to help to support the people that were once under the employ of either Prince or Paisley Park. And so like, for instance, Rosie Gaines is a good example, and there's one that I always use, where she was, she had a bunch of health issues and she couldn't pay her hospital bills. And so what PRN alumni does is they take some of the proceeds of what are sold on that site, and then they actually help to pay for medical bills or just expenses, or just kind of helping to kind of keep people afloat that were once in the employ of Prince. And PRN alumni managed to recreate a candle that was always in Studio C. It's a very distinct scent that Prince had created, and it was just an amazing smelling candle. It's incredible, the smell. And some people that have actually been in Studio C while Prince was with us, when they smelled that candle, they were like, oh my gosh, that's it. So if you go to prnalumni.org, you can actually go to the site and go to their shopping area, and you can actually purchase one of those candles. It's really, really cool. So I wanted to I know a little bit of a rabbit hole, but I wanted to kind of, since I just mentioned Studio C, I wanted to kind of call that out because I got to do my part. But anyways, during this Third Eye TV show, this 4th edition of this show, there was a voice that said that Donna and Hannah from Third Eye Girl were recording parts for this song, Breakdown, in Studio C, but the released version that ended up being on this album sounded exactly like the one that DJ Rashida had played, which basically means that whatever Donna and Hannah had done in Studio C was not used. So there's that. Chord-wise, it's an unusual song because if you listen to the song, when it first starts, it just starts out with these piano chords, and they're pretty bright chords. This is a really sad song, but it starts with this ding. They're just really bright chords. And if you listen to the song when it first starts, it's just got these happy sounding chords. And then all of a sudden it just kind of adds these other chord progressions that slide it into darkness. It's really weird song. Anyway, it's also layered with sad lyrics, and then layered again with strings and darker tones to kind of flesh it out into this unusual blend of happy and sad chords that are all happening at once. And then on top of that, they use these laser sounds, this pew, pew, pew. It's just this really strangely put together song, but it's so effective and it's so cool the way that he put it together. And as far as the song itself, it's Prince reminiscing about how he used to focus on all of the wrong things, like having the biggest pool and throwing the best party, and how he was always wasting time being the first one drunk and the last one to leave. And now he's finally reflecting on someone specific. We don't necessarily know who, but he's reflecting on somebody who he used to put up a wall in front of, and now that wall is a door that she can walk through if she could ever forgive him. But we don't know who this person is, and that, you know, it could well very be the saddest story that's ever been told. To steal a lyric from the song, you know, it is. Prince on all vocals and instruments, Joshua Welton on some unidentified instruments, Andy Allo on background vocals. It's the first appearance of Andy on this song, and String Genius on the strings. And as I mentioned, there is an unreleased version that has Hannah and Donna on it. Hannah on drums and Donna on guitar, obviously, but we've never heard that version. I would love to hear it, but that's not what we're going to play here. First time this song was ever played was April 15th, the day after Valentine's Day on 2013 at the Vogue Theatre in Vancouver, Canada. And then the last time it was played was also, was not also anything, March 4th, 2016 at the Oracle Arena in Oakland, California. Here it is, Breakdown. Used to be called The Breakdown, but now it's just Breakdown. Right here on the Funkatopia radio show. It's track number 3 on Artificial Age. Here you go, Breakdown. And I'll be partially muted. See how happy that is? All right, let's see what we got here. No, the candle is not Studio A. It's Studio C, according to PRN alumni. Yes, April, you're right. They did play this on the VIP tour. But they played Hannah's version and Donna's version on the VIP tour. Really? That would have been awesome. Kitty says she has 3 of those candles and they smell heavenly. I will absolutely have to. You say Studio A, but okay, you guys got me all effed up now. Hold on a second. Let me go and double check this. I'm almost positive it was Studio C. I am going to look it up now. And if you're right, then I'm going to end up having to take up some of my recording time correcting myself. I could have sworn it was Studio C. Shop. I could have sworn it was C. If you're right and it's A, I'm going to feel like a total... God bless America, it is Studio A. All right, so it is Studio A. Well, they need to make a Studio C candle now. It's Studio A. Thank you, Brian, Mr. Know-It-All. You think you're going to get a gift now, you're wrong. One thing I can tell you. F! That's it, I'm done. No more album chat. Thank you. Thank you, Brian. We're done. Just forget it. Forget it. I don't care. It doesn't matter if it's Studio F you. Studio. Funkenberry said that he wrote Breakdown for the Great Gatsby soundtrack. I believe it. That would have been... Yeah, I think he had something... You may be right. I didn't find any of that news. Any Prince Breakdown Great Gatsby. I love Google. I see that he said that he wrote the remake of Love Thy Will Be Done. I don't see any reference to Love Thy Will Be Done. I didn't hear it doesn't say anything about that. Yes, I know. The Candle State Studio A. Yeah, now I've got to come on here and fix it. 7 seconds. Shut up. Be quiet. We're going back on. And that was Breakdown. And I was corrected in between the song that the Candle is Studio A and not Studio C. So I went down a rabbit hole that didn't even exist. I was basically the Alice in Wonderland of going down rabbit holes. I went down a hole that was only in my mind. The Candle is from Studio A, not Studio C. Ha da da, hooty hoo. All right. So there's that. Fine. That was the breakdown. And if you don't know what we're talking about and you just joined it, I'm not going backwards. I'm not going backwards into my error. It's a rear view mirror. You don't make a mistake and then go back and relive that mistake. That's the definition of insanity. I'm not doing it. That was the breakdown. If you're just joining us, this is the album chat for Prince's album Artificial Age. We're talking about every single one of the tracks on this album. We're just talking about breakdown. And that's all I'm going to say about that, which takes us to the next song on the album called The Gold Standard. A reviewer wrote about this song. He described it as percolating electro-funk, an update of classic Prince with a lyric that referenced the notions of wild and rude from his previous days. That was just kind of a long way to say, yeah, it's a funky track. Funk, like, I don't know. It seems like there could have been a much easier way to say it, but he was trying to be flowy. It's a song about the new normal where being naked means nothing. That's like, or as Prince puts it here in the song, nude is the brand new yawn. Seen it, done it, whatever. Being rude or wild isn't even necessary anymore. It's just letting your body move and then getting into what's called in this song, the upper echelon groove. For those afraid to ask, echelon is just kind of like a level. It's like, this is the upper level groove. You got to qualify for it. It's kind of like the bus stop dance, the dance called the bus stop, but it's got a new hook in there. So it's kind of really similar. But the crazy part of this song, The Gold Standard, is that it's really interesting is the ending of this song. The reason why I'm not going into too much description about this song is because this is one of those songs that really doesn't have a lot of value lyric wise to it. It's just one of these songs where it's funky and he's dancing and he's being a little bit silly. And there's not like a whole bunch that's, meaty here as far as the song's definition or its purpose or any of that. It's just one of these party songs. But what's interesting about this song is at the end of the song, it's got Prince playing a part that's kind of similar to the character he plays in Bob George, who's like, yeah, and it sounds like he's hitting on a bong, and then he's holding it in. He's talking to some girl, and he goes, "Oh yeah, no, it's cool. Bring it in here. Bring it in here." It's this really weird thing that he does, and it's just unusual. You'll hear it here in just a second. We're about to play this song, but he's going like, "Hey, baby. Oh, yeah, really? No, that's cool. Bring it in here. All the way here. Come on. Let me get in there. Good God." It's all this weird stuff that he does. And you don't hear him do this a lot unless he's kind of in that party mode. But I love it. I love these types of songs where he kind of goes a little bit overboard and he does these characters and he kind of goes off into this, scripted kind of silliness. And that's kind of what this song is. Not the song itself, but the closing kind of outro has got this weird thing that you'll hear it. Anyways, for those of you who already know what it is, anyways. First time this song was ever played, February 2nd, 2015 at Coco in London, England. But it was just a clip during a sampler set. It's not ever believed to have been performed live in its entirety. It's always just kind of been a clip during like a sampler set. If anybody's ever seen Stevie Wonder in concert, he does a lot of that where he'll play like a bunch of his songs in the concert, but then of course he'll play like clips of a bunch of all of his hits because he just simply can't be there all night. And this is kind of what happened here. The last time they played that clip was October 15th, 2015 at Paisley Park in Chanhassen. It's Prince on all vocals and instruments. Joshua Welton is doing some percussion stuff in there. But it's also got some horns here, some unidentified horn players, but there are two that are identified, which is Marcus Anderson on sax and Adrian Crutchfield on sax as well. Here it is, track number 4 on Artificial Age, the gold standard right here on the Funkatopia radio show. Welcome to the album chat for Artificial Age. All right. You're all fired. Go home. All right. Yes, Adrian, I said the bus stop. Yes, Andre, you heard me say naked. All right, let me scroll up here. Yes, Rodney, we know it's Studio A. Thank you, Rodney. Rodney obviously owns it. And see, what Rodney will do is Rodney will buy it because he's such a collector. Rodney will buy it. And then what he'll do is he'll put it in like a glass case, and then it will never get burned. He's never burned it. He'll only like take the lid off and smell it, and then put the lid back on, and then put it in the glass case. And then Rodney has a literal museum. If you've ever seen the pictures of the inside of that store in the UK called Rocket Pool, that's Rodney's house. Daniel says no one layers vocals like Prince. No one. Absolutely. April says the candle is $40. Yes, I was actually going to order one of those candles, but then and I actually had it in the cart. And then with shipping, it was going to end up being like almost $60 for me to get that candle. I was like, oh. But supposedly it's very, very long burning, so you can keep it for a long time, and it smells really great. And Keely, I was not having a breakdown. Daniel says, I still have more Prince knowledge than any of us. That's not true. There's plenty of people out there that have lots of Prince knowledge. Rodney being one of them. Rodney's like a walking encyclopedia. Lots of stuff going on. Yeah, let's see. Yes, Andre. Yes, I'm old. Leanne, it may have been his old man character's voice, but it does sound suspiciously like Bob George. If it didn't have that, not Bob George, but the character he was playing during the song of Bob George. I don't know what that guy's called. But without the added heaviness. Anyways. Okay, Rodney, remember, you have to outlive me first. A lot of people want to know what Rodney's talking about. I was at both of the Prince concerts, his final 2 shows here in Atlanta, and I have the 2 concert tickets here in the studio that are hanging up on the wall over there. You can see them. Let me see if I can get my finger to line up. I can't even do this correctly. Can I even do this correctly? It's over there. It's over there. See Kendrick Lamar and then the Spin magazine. It's got that. It's that window box and those 2 tickets right there. Those are the 2 final concerts. Good night, Andre. Those are the 2 final concerts, and I window boxed them because they're collector's edition. They're collector's items, and I told Rodney that when I die, he can have that final concert ticket to add to his collection, but he's got to outlive me. He needs to outlive me first. If he passes away, then he obviously won't get them. I mean, obviously, people are going to be very, very ticked because I could definitely sell that ticket for $1,000 easy. No joke. No joke. I could sell that ticket for tons of cash. But it has to do with me honoring people that mean a lot to me, that are good friends of mine, and I can't take it with me when I go. So Rodney is a good friend of mine. So there you go, Rodney. Do I have the Paisley tambourine? I do not. Leanne, you know what? Leanne, you make a very good point. Rodney, if you go before me, I got 1:15 here. If you go before me, what do I get? Do I get anything at all? Are you going to bestow upon me anything at all? I mean, it seems like there's a lot of giving here and a lot of taking. But so you need to come up with something that, if you go before me, the original Black Album, the original one. All right. That's a deal. You guys all have seen it here. If I go before Rodney, he gets my final ticket. If he goes before me, he's going to send me the Black Album. You guys read it right here. Not the release version, the actual, not the 1994 version. Really, Rodney? Okay, so this is where we are. All right. Okay, he said it. 1987 version. Okay. All right, you got 10 seconds. We got to come back on. I'm holding you to it. Everybody here saw it. You were witness. Witness. Thank you, Danielle. And that was the gold standard with that really strange ending of Prince pretending like he's hitting on a bong. And kind of an interesting song, especially for somebody who didn't like drugs. So it's there. It's on. So that all being said, that takes us to the next song on the album, which is You Know. And this is the song that I was talking about earlier that everybody was asking me about. I said, there is a song that is on this album that, do I have it loaded up? I need to have it loaded up. Yes, I do. There is a song that is on this album that was written by somebody else instrumentally. The instrumental music that is on, that didn't make any sense. The music that is on this track, which is called You Know, was written by somebody else. It was written by a hip hop artist that's kind of, I guess she's over the pond. I don't know if she's based in London or where she's at, but her name is Mila J. And I'm going to play that. I'm going to play a snippet of that for you. And you're going to be like, what? Anyways, this song, You Know, was released 4 weeks earlier than the album after it debuted on a website called Celebuzz. Instead of celebrity, it's Celebuzz. You can't even say, what a stupid name. Celebuzz. So instead of celebrity, it's Celebuzz. It's not even Celela anything. It's Celebuzz. And so you're not even playing on celebrity because you can't even say it. Celebuzz. It's so stupid. Anyways, this song was released 4 weeks earlier than the album. It's one of those rare songs where he uses a sample from somebody else, but Prince didn't just use the freaking sample. He almost used the whole entire song. It was like he took this entire song from Mila J and just took the music from it and then layered his own vocals over it. He did mess with some of the timing and whatnot, but it's by the backing music for this song, You Know, is from a song called Blinded by Mila J. As for that part of it, as I said, it's not just a couple of pieces taken from Mila J. It's like the complete song. And if you've never heard it before, that's what we do here, right? I am going to play you the track from Mila J. The song is called Blinded, in parentheses, West Side. And let's just see if this sounds familiar at all to the song that you know. Here it is, Blinded by Mila J. Check this out.
Jungle Beats, holla at me. People tell me that I'm foolish. Why you let that nigga do this? Gotta tell them stay up on my business, cause they don't know shit. Yeah. I be telling them
Whole song.
jealous of my situation. They don't see what I see in you, and why I'm with you. Yeah. I'm gonna leave a post sensational, emotional, damn, it's so incredible. My baby looking up to heaven, baby, guess what, he my baby.
Anyways, that's the song Blinded by Mila J, Mila-J. And obviously, because we heard, most of us, probably 99% of us heard before we heard that song, we obviously like better. But it's like he lifted it. The whole freaking song. Anyways, so there's that. The song is about a man who is apparently not taking care of a woman. Prince wants that woman, but he's not going to let people know that he's in a relationship with her, or not going to publicly reveal that he's in a relationship with her until whatever guys that she's with cuts her loose. And that's the reason for the lyric, you know how much I want you, you know how much I care. When he gone, he know I'm going to flaunt you, you know. Ultimately, no matter what happens, he realizes that she has full power, P control, as he's put it before. Feminine rise and not surprise, and recognizing that the power of the breast is just a test that you'll be winning. So it's a little bit of a couple double entendres layered over Mila J's song. Very cool version. Anyways, Prince on all vocals and instruments. Joshua Welton, once again, on some unidentified percussion and stuff. Mila J on looped vocals. Not only does the instrumentation comes in here, but if you listen closely to it, you will hear Mila J. That's Mila J going, that's Mila J. Other recording personnel from Blinded is kind of really not known, because we don't know really much about what was all involved with Mila creating the song. First time this song was ever played, March 15th, 2014, at the Fox Theater in San Francisco, California. It was just a short sample of Blinded with the musical backing only. And again, the last time it was played was also during a sampler set. That was February 26, 2016 at Burswood in Australia. Here it is, the version that we know, not Mila J's version, right here on the Funkatopia radio show. So, did anybody know that? All right. Hey, Cammy, welcome. Welcome. Oh, man. I wonder if I could ever find Mila J and ask her how she felt about the song. I would, but there wouldn't be too much about this well, just so we're clear, I also did not know this until I did the research for this album. So I'm just going to, in all transparency, when I was doing the research for the album and I saw that there was some crediting that was going to Mila J, I said, I wonder how much of this song he pulled. I'm curious, where they get bits and pieces from. And I listened to the song, that Mila J song in its entirety, and I was like, this is the whole friggin' song. It's the whole friggin' song. Who was Prince dating at the time he wrote Breakdown? That is a very, very good question. I believe I could be wrong, but I believe it was Andy Allo. But it was not because Andy Allo and him did have a relationship. She was dating him for a period of time, and she is all over this album. So technically, there is a bunch of but remember, Andy Allo was not part of the breakdown because I don't think she was in the picture just yet. She was in the picture during the recording of this album, but the breakdown was actually recorded like a year or two earlier than that. So the breakdown isn't about Andy. It's just about introspection and whatever else, but I don't think it has anything to do with Andy. But Andy was, Prince and Andy were dating during this time. So there's a whole, wasn't she his last girlfriend? There is talk that he actually had a relationship with Judith Hill, which is one of the reasons why Judith was all over the place. I got a minute. Judith was all over the place when during his final days. Matter of fact, Judith Hill was on the plane with him when they left from Atlanta to go back to Minneapolis, and they had to make that emergency stop because he went unconscious. He OD'd on the plane. Judith Hill was on the plane. So there was rumor that him and Judith Hill were dating, but it was they were really kind of keeping it on the download. When he, I see a bunch of people saying no. I don't know what you're knowing to. So, but I believe it was Judith Hill was his last girlfriend, but I don't think it was public that it was out there, but Judith Hill was almost everywhere that he was. So I believe that Judith Hill was his last girlfriend. All right. 8 seconds. Here we go. And there you have it. That song is called You Know. That is track number whatever it is on this album, chat. Track number 5 on this album. Pretty much written by Mila J. I know that they only give her credit for clips, but the reality of it is that entire song is pretty much Mila J, with the exception of the new structuring of it, some added keyboard riffs, and obviously lyrics done by Prince. But anyways, there's that. The next song on this album is Breakfast Can't Wait. For those of you just joining us, you are listening to the album chat for Prince's album Artificial Age, his 37th studio album. And we're talking about every single one of the tracks on this album, piece by piece by piece, which brings us to the next song on this album, which is Breakfast Can Wait. Prince had tons of fun marketing this song. As for the cover of the single, he used a screen capture of Dave Chappelle. For many of those who remember that, Dave Chappelle from his infamous Blouses comedy sketch, where Chappelle dressed as Prince holding a plate of pancakes, and he did it without permission. Dave told Jimmy, well, for those of you who have not seen the sketch, I don't know where in the world you've been, but Dave Chappelle did this sketch with Charlie Murphy, Eddie Murphy's brother, where Charlie kind of tells the story about how they went over to Prince's and and Prince challenged them to basketball, and they all went out to the basketball court, and Prince and his team came out and they were all dressed like they just got done a show. They were wearing like blouses and things, and did pretty well. Apparently killed him on the court. And then on top of that, additionally, after it was over, Prince served them pancakes. And that's where the scene is, where Dave Chappelle is dressed up like Prince and he's got this plate of pancakes. Prince stole that screen capture and made it the cover of the single for Breakfast Can't Wait. And Chappelle told Jimmy Fallon, he said, that is a Prince judo move right there. You make fun of Prince in a sketch, and then he'll just use you on his album cover. The comedian said, what am I going to do? Sue him for using a picture of me dressed up like him? That's checkmate right there. And that story that Chappelle based the skit on, again, was from the story told by Eddie Murphy's brother, Charlie Murphy. And it turns out to be true. And Prince confirmed that it was true. Prince said, that's a true story, by the way. And then he asked if it was really as good as he was made out to be in the skit as far as his basketball skills were concerned. And he took a shot at Chappelle and said, oh, definitely. And he does not. To be honest, it's not that I'm great. It's just that he's just so bad. And when he asked him about the pancakes, Prince said, well, I didn't make them, but we had pancakes. I loved it. It was great. Prince also ran into Dave Chappelle later at a show, and Prince said, Dave came to one of my shows after, and he's going, did you see the skit? And I said, yeah, come on, sit down. And we were just sitting there chilling, and we've been there like 2 or 3 hours, whatever. Then out of nowhere, I just said, Dave, want some pancakes? So Breakfast Can't Wait also had a maxi single that had about 4 different versions of the song that were remixed by Joshua Welton, called Espresso Mix, Grits and Gravy, Honey, and Buttermilk, all breakfast related items, as you may have noticed. There was also a video created for the song that was directed by Danielle Curiel, which features a woman who is impersonating Prince. As for the song itself, it's pretty straightforward. A woman spends the night, and while breakfast is great, he really just wants another bite of her. The only thing that's going to sweeten his tongue. Prince on all vocals and instruments, and that's it. Says Joshua Welton did some stuff here and there percussion-wise, but that's just assumed. For the most part, it is just Prince on everything. October 5th, 2013 at Paisley Park was the first time the song was played live. And the last time it was played live was at Coco in London on February 16th, 2014. Here it is, the next song on Artificial Age, Breakfast Can Wait, right here on the Funkatopia radio show. All right. What have I missed? Brian says, was watching a Mila J interview and she reminds Prince she was in Diamonds and Pearls. I don't know how old Mila J is, but I don't think she's that old. Winter blouses, that's right. Let's see. April, yeah, the video is pretty cool. Renee says, I heard an interview where Anthony Hamilton said Prince wanted him to do Breakfast Can't Wait on Vlad TV. I'll have to check that out. Vlad TV is a really cool channel. Oh, cool. That's a nice little tidbit on Mila J. Michelle thing. It's the older sister to Jenny Aiko. Very cool. Yeah, so we still got lots of information. Yeah, if Mila's 37, then she would have been like a teen in Diamonds and Pearls. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, very, very cool. Anybody learning stuff here on Artificial Age? I still got a couple more surprises for you on this album. We got a lot more information. Matter of fact, I've got some information. Is it the next song? Let me see here. No, it's not. All right, yeah. So a couple. When we talk about, I got a big surprise for you on What It Feels Like, which is a couple songs from now. Some songs that even Prince Vault got wrong, and a lot of people want to know. A lot of people want to know where I get a lot of my information, and as you can see, well, you probably can't see, but behind me, all those books that are back here. All those books that are back there. I mean, those are all Prince books and Prince magazines and publications. And of course, I scour the web for internet for interviews. And I also pull stuff from Prince Vault. I pull stuff from, old interview, just all stuff from everywhere. That's where I get a lot of this information. And it takes a long time for me to put together album chats, which is one of the reasons for the space in between some of these album chats is because it takes so long. For this album alone, as I told you, I had 14 pages of information on this album, which is insane. That is the longest. It's just so much information. So that all being said, that's cool. If that's true, I have to find out the reality of that Mila was probably in the video for Diamonds and Pearls. That's really cool. Awesome. Anyways, so there's some things that I find out that conflict, like Prince Vault will get things wrong, and they're supposed to be like the Bible of Prince information, but there's some things that Prince Vault got wrong, and I will actually divulge that. Got 20 seconds. I will actually divulge that and what it feels like. It's one of those occasions, and we'll talk about that. But the next song is This Could Be Us, so we got to talk about that one first. Here we go. We're going to talk about that in 10 seconds or so. Oh, nope, 7. No. 5. No, 3. And that was Breakfast Can Wait, which is the next song on this album. We are doing the album chat for Prince's album Artificial Age, which is his 37th studio album, which brings us to the next track on this album, which is This Could Be Us. Strangely enough, this song, and I don't know if a lot of people realize this, a lot of times when you're in a scenario where you have all of Prince's albums and you just listen to them on like a remix and just pulling stuff from here, there, or everywhere, and you just like, oh, This Could Be Us. I like this song. A lot of people don't realize, and it's, a lot of people don't realize this, but this song, This Could Be Us, appears not only on this album, Artificial Age, but he also released it again on Hit and Run Phase 1. So this song appears twice. And pretty much the only difference between the two songs that I was able to kind of really decipher much was that This Could Be Us, B-E, it was what it's like on Artificial Age, but on Hit and Run Phase 1, he goes back to the normal, just the letter B instead of B-E. So this song is on 2 albums, Artificial Age and Hit and Run. It seems like it's the same song. I did not layer them. I didn't have time to layer them on top of each other to see if they're actually truly the same song. I think there maybe is a little bit of a variance between the 2 songs. Not much. Other than the spelling, not much. The Hit and Run version is actually a little bit of a remix of the song by Joshua Welton, and it also has some additional recording by Prince, but not enough of a difference that you're like, oh yeah, this is dope. In January 2014, there was a hashtag on Twitter, which is what, Twitter does, that said, "This could be us, but you playing." That started trending on Twitter as a phrase for a couple that could have conquered the world, but, one of them is cheating on him. And people created a bunch of memes that had that hashtag, "This could be us, but you playing." And one of the ones that kept getting retweeted was a picture of Prince and Apollonia on their motorcycle from Purple Rain. And they just kept on retweeting it. As luck would have it, Prince noticed the meme and ended up writing a song about the meme totally around this Twitterverse meme that was out there of Prince and Apollonia on Purple Rain. The song expanded on the meme, but in what direction, we don't know. The couple could possibly become more, but she's interested in someone else, whether that's cheating or simply she's just not interested in her or not interested in him or not focused. We just don't know. So it's kind of a play on the meme, but for those old people out there who, what in the world is a meme? A meme is like, you take this photo and then you put, big words over it. It's kind of like a joke. I don't know. It's memes are hard to explain, but anyways, I think everyone is trying to figure out what a purple psychedelic pimp slap is, though. I think I know what it is, but how it fits into the song, I don't know, but it's a lyric that's in this song where he says purple psychedelic pimp slap. It's in there. Anyways, you want him like a new pair of shoes. We're going to play this song. It's Prince on all vocals, bass and guitar. And Joshua actually it wasn't unidentified what he's doing. He's actually does keyboards and drum program on this song as well. The first and only time this song was played was just solo on a piano. It's January 21st, 2016 at the first show at Paisley Park Studios in Chanhassen, which was the debut of the Prince Piano and a Microphone show. So he played it on piano, and that was the only time that it was done. So without further ado, This Could Be Us, B-E Us, which was unusual that it showed up that way anyways. I bet most people, when they saw the album cover and they saw it spelled with B-E, they're probably like, oops, that's a typo. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Here it is. This Could Be Us off the Artificial Age album. Welcome to the album chat on the Funkatopia radio show.
Now you ain't ready.
Ba.
I'll be ready for us.
All right. Yeah, I know they did quite a bit of videos for various songs, so I don't know if there's anything that yeah. Well, you're right, Adriana. He did do Funk and Roll as well. You're right. They did do Funk and Roll on both this album and Plectrum Electrum. So it's not the first time that he's done it. I actually mentioned it here as well. And when you listen to the songs, it's pretty much the same song. It's not really a whole bunch. There's not really a whole bunch different that's happening with this song. So with Funk and Roll, This Could Be Us, as far as the Hit and Run Phase 1 album, is maybe a little bit more techno, but I mean, it's pretty much the same song, right? So I don't know. Anyways, I almost feel like we need to play it just to kind of see what the differences are. And for whatever reason, that's another thing. That's another thing. It's kind of one of those things where like, oh yeah, I guess there is a kind of like a little bit of remix version of this that's kind of happening. And I haven't even paid attention to it. I didn't even paid attention to the dynamics between the two. But yes, Brian, you're right. It is very much like a remix version, but you know, it's like not so far removed. Just kind of has a little bit more of a technical feel to it. It's kind of like this. Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, I think I did see the tees, the t-shirts that you're talking about, Danielle. I don't know. Anyways, awesome. Would I count When Two Are in Love? Yes, that was on Love Sexy and also the Black Album, right? So I thought When Two Are in Love was a I just kind of felt like when Two Are in Love was a weird addition to Black Album. It was just totally different. I don't know. Diane asks, is this live version going to be available for us to see from the beginning? Yes, it will. I think I'll be releasing it I'll release it on YouTube. I'm trying to figure out some different things to do for the Patreon supporters that are going to kind of do a little bit more of just kind of doing something a little bit different for Patreon supporters. So there's that. What a second here. Let me switch levels. It looks like I'm a little bit hot. Am I too loud over there? I feel like I'm too hot in the other thing. Not too hot like level wise. Okay. I seem like I'm low. I don't know. It's definitely a totally different level that I'm seeing on the board. On the board, I'm actually redlining in some parts. So there's that. Diane says I'm perfect in Australia. Well, maybe I need to move to Australia. I need to move somewhere where I'm perfect. Oh, thank you, Dangerous. What's up, man? Dangerous, I haven't seen you in a while time. Branham, Mr. Dangerous in the house. What's next? Oh, yeah, we got some surprises. Yes, Adriana, thank you. You're welcome. I've got like lots of cool stuff coming, so you need to I'll show you some of the stuff that I got. I got 25 seconds. And I'll show you some of the stuff that I've kind of been collecting for Patreon supporters that I'm going to be sending. And Adriana, you need to let me know. Adriana, Cammy, stop. Adriana, you need to let me know what you want, and I'll make sure you get one. Hold on a second. Here we go. And that was This Could Be Us from this album. And if you are, well, be us. This could be us. Anyways, that was that. Which brings us to the next song on the album, which is What It Feels Like. This song was kind of a little bit of a shocker to me as far as what Prince Vault unveiled. We're going to talk about that in a second, because one of the first songs on the album that Prince duets with Andy Allo on, and it was released almost like well over a year before the album actually came out, like 15 months before it released, because Dudley D played it during a DJ set during the Third Eye TV broadcast number 16, July 11, 2013. It was just, anyways. The song references being treated like David and then like Saul. Which name of David? Okay, anyways. Which is a reference to King David and King Saul. It's a biblical reference, obviously. King David was revered, even though he made a lot of mistakes with Bathsheba and all. Anyways, even though he made a lot of mistakes, he was very, very he tried to stay in alignment with God's will all the time, even though he slipped up like men do. King David was very revered and admired as a great king, writer of Psalms in the Bible. But whereas King Saul, not so much. He was respected as a king, but not, he fought unfairly. He always seemed to cheat at wars. He most importantly, he kept disobeying God repeatedly. Like, if you read the story of Saul, continually he just, I don't know, he just didn't respect what he would be told by God to do one thing, and then he would like, there's no way that's going to work, and then he would do something else. They also make They also make a reference to the Philistines in the song, which refers to where Saul died. Where instead of being captured when they were at war with the Philistines, Saul didn't want to be captured. So what he decided to do was fall on his sword, so that he didn't, he just decided to commit suicide instead of risking being captured and killed by the enemy. So that's kind of the reference of, you used to revere me as David, but then now you just kind of treat me like Saul. And then of course Andy sings. Anyways, you'll hear it. You're familiar with the song. Then there are some other weird lyrics in there that would probably only make sense to Prince. Stuff like, and all you need to reach my lovin' is pi r squared and a muffin. I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that means. As for the song's recording, all of these songs happened in pretty much, there are a couple of exceptions, but pretty much all of these songs were recorded in Paisley Park at some point during 2014, early 2014. But what I was talking about with Prince Vault, strangely enough, and inaccurately, Prince Vault notates that the phrase, "this is what it feels like," is used repeatedly in Andy Allo's song When Stars Collide, which is off of her Superconductor album. But they say the songs are not related, which is not correct. If you listen to the end of Andy Allo's song When Stars Collide, it keeps saying, "This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like." They recorded those songs at the same time. And those two songs, Andy's When Stars Collide and this song, This Is What It Feels Like, were together. They were one song. and Prince broke them apart, let Andy put When Stars Collide on her album, and then he put This Is What It Feels Like on his album. And that is straight from Andy's mouth. Andy came on Funkatopia radio show. This is when she came on. It was around the time that this album was released. So I guess it was way back in 2014. She was on this radio show and she told the story. Matter of fact, just so y'all don't think I'm lying, y'all think I'm lying all the time. You think I'm lying. I ain't lying. I'm going to show you where she said that. Here it is. This is Andy telling the story about what it feels like. It's short. Here it is.
Play a song because it's one of the first songs that he and I duet on, and it's a continuation of one of my songs I wrote called When Stars Collide, which is on my record Superconductor. And so if you play both songs, start with When Stars Collide and then play What It Feels Like, you should seamlessly go into the next one or go with each other.
Wow, really? Oh, there's a little insider tip. I'm going to try that out.
Yeah.
So there it was. There was Andy Allo telling me back in 2014 that those two songs were recorded together and that they were put together, but that then they were separated. And one went on Superconductor and one went on there. And here's something for you. Just so you can feel it and experience it. Instead of just playing What It Feels Like outright on this album chat, I went ahead and took the last minute of Andy Allo's song, When Stars Collide. I faded it in. And then we're going to go right into What It Feels Like. So we're going to do that. So we're going to play What It Feels Like, but I wanted to do an intro of Andy Allo's When Stars Collide so you can see and experience how those songs fit together. I want you to be able to experience that. So I did that. I did that for you because I love you guys, and there it is. I want to make sure that you experience this as it was recorded, as it was meant to be, but ended up not being. But before I do that, it's Prince on co-lead vocals and all the instruments, Andy Allo on co-lead vocals as well. It's never believed to have been performed live, but here it is. The last minute of Andy Allo's When Stars Collide, and then we'll go right into What It Feels Like so you can experience what it was like when it was originally recorded. Here you go. Enjoy. Here you go.
This is what it feels like. 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 This is what it feels like.
There you go. So at least you got to experience it. Now, of course, because I haven't been talking over all this music, they're going to mute this. So it's going to be that. Of course. So, I know Dwayne Tudall was actually actively involved in Prince Vault, which is one of the reasons why he's such a guru of sorts of like just a wealth of Prince information. So I every single time I experience some of these things where it's like, no, that's not right. That's not right. I want to make sure that you guys can actually experience it like it needs to be experienced. And that's just more important than anything else. So there's that. So yes, that, and there's actually, well, I have another clip with Andy, but it's not, not as groundbreaking. She just kind of talks a little bit about time, and we'll kind of deal with that a little bit later. I think that's the only extra clip that I have coming up, but we've still got a lot of really cool information about everything. What's next? Next is affirmation 1 and 2, and then which goes into Way Back Home. So we're going to talk about those two songs, and I'm not going to play affirmation 1 and 2, and then which is only 40 seconds long, and then come back in and do Way Back Home. I'm going to talk about those songs together. Yes, Carrie, we should tell Vault to fix it, because I have the audio proof from Andy telling us that they were recorded together and that they were broken apart and that they could be put together like that. So, and actually when she told me that, I actually took those two songs and put them together back in 2014. I was like, oh, this is really cool. This is really nice sounding. But for whatever reason, I never broadcast it. I never put it out there. I think probably because of the fact we weren't really doing we were doing interviews and we were doing lots of posts and stuff, but we weren't doing the radio. We had shows, but we weren't doing like this 24/7 radio station like you're experiencing right now. We just did shows. We did lots of radio broadcasts, more along the lines of podcasts back then than we're doing now, which is actually a full-blown radio station. And we've been a full-blown radio station for many years, but it's been, anyways, 13 seconds. Hope you guys enjoyed that. It was pretty cool, right? All right, what do we got next? Oh, well, I already said it. Let's do it. So there you have it, what it feels like with the intro from Andy Allo's When Stars Collide. Those two songs were one, and then they were broken apart, and one was put on Superconductor, Andy Allo's album, and one was put on Artificial Age. And so there is the correct merging of those two songs. I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was actually pretty cool. Pretty cool. Which brings us to the next song on the album, which I'm not going to play straight out. We are actually I'm going to talk about the next song. I'm going to We're going to talk about the next two songs, and then I'll play those two songs. Basically, the next song is Affirmation 1 and 2, but it's only 40 seconds. And it's just more of the storyline for where the narrator, who is in this case Leanne LaHavis, it's her talking about how he is now that he's waking up from his cryogenic sleep, he is now supposed to interact with the opposite sex. And while the song is called Affirmation 1 and 2, she really only kind of tells him about Affirmation 1, which is that there is no such words as me or mine. And so that's kind of the first affirmation. Doesn't really talk too much about the second one, but then the song blends into the next song, which I guess is the second affirmation, which is a song Way Back Home. And her narration continues as it bleeds over into Way Back Home. But it's Leanne LaHavis on vocals for Affirmation 1 and 2, Prince on all instruments, and String Genius on harp. And as I said, before we play Affirmation 1 or 2, I want to talk about the next track after that, which is Way Back Home. And we'll just play them together since it's too awkward to break them apart. Way Back Home is, again, that continued narration from Leanne LaHavis that kind of continues to move the story along. And she continues to tell him that any person or object whatsoever that requires your attention is something that has veered from its path and preordained destiny of total enlightenment. So if you know what that means, you're way more enlightened than I am. But if you kind of break it down line by line, he's basically saying that anybody that you come in contact with that requires you to stop and pay attention to what they're saying, whether or not they've interrupted your path or they step in front of your way, it's because they have gotten off of their path in order to come over into your path and interrupt your journey. So they've gone off from their journey and they've stepped off into your path, into your journey. And it's not necessarily that it's an interruption of a journey. It's something that was preordained. It's something that was supposed to have happened. And the reason that that interruption of journeys occurred is because of the fact that it's part of your enlightenment. That person had something to contribute to your journey in order to bring you to enlightenment. And so the only way that you could completely understand everything, it was required and preordained that that person had to leave their path to step into yours and tell you or bring you through something and then step out. It's kind of like life in a way. And this is like a total rabbit hole. This is nowhere in my notes. Where I'm going and where I've been going for the past 2 minutes here is nowhere in my notes. I'm just trying to explain what I've taken away. It's kind of like life. You know, we go through life and, you know, sometimes we get into a bad relationship or, you know, maybe, you know, there's plenty of us out of here who have been married more than once. Or if it's experienced somebody who just totally screwed up your life or just totally just altered your path. And it's a way of saying, you know, while at the time that particular experience or what you experienced was pretty shitty, on the same level, in order for your life to be where it's at right now, you had to be your path, your journey had to be interrupted by that person in order for you to learn something, in order for you to take away something that helped to make you a better person. It may have really sucked when it was going on, but now that you're on the other side of it and you may be experiencing it now, there may be somebody in your path right now that is really effing up your life. You have to experience that and you have to go through that in order to build out certain parts of your character that will ultimately make you a better person. And that's kind of what she's getting at here. But this is obviously set way in the future where, you know, anyways, as for context, so we're done with that rabbit hole. As for content, way back home, got the other conspiracy theorist going. Remember, I was talking about the original conspiracy theory when we were talking about the background of the album, and that Prince and Warner Brothers had entered into this contract where it was going to give Warner Brothers the ability to be able to properly license and, you know, re-release some of his material while he was with the label, and he was going to get all this wide distribution. But the contract really didn't really address anything as far as who was going to be able to control a lot of things once he died. The contract really didn't cover a lot of that. So a lot of conspiracy theorists felt like Warner Brothers had probably killed Prince. Some conspiracy theorists say that. They said, if we can get Prince out of the picture, then we're actually going to be able to have full control over all of his music that he released with us, which is a good volume of music. I mean, it's, you know, almost 20 years worth of music. And anyways, this particular one, this conspiracy theory is that Prince's death was all planned. And Prince had complete knowledge that he was going to die. He knew exactly what was happening. He knew when he was going to die. He knew how he was going to die. He knew that his end was coming. And he was simply tying up loose ends. And songs like this where he is very much talking about his death, just kind of ties all those ribbons and kind of, just kind of makes it neat. Musically makes it neat. But as most of you know, Prince has always done that. Every album since the beginning has had some reference to dying or death or the end. The only difference is that this one is a little bit more retrospective, which people tend to do as they get older and they kind of cross over into their later years and they start thinking about, what am I leaving behind? What have I done? What have I accomplished in life? What is, so this was really kind of that retrospective approach in the song. In this one, he is simply trying to find his, like the song title says, his way back home, which many people believe to simply be a reference to heaven, which is where we all started and where we will all return once we're done. Once we're done with our physical bodies here, then our spiritual bodies will return to heaven. And who knows, we may be reincarnated into something else. I know that doesn't align with Christianity and there is no reincarnation and whatnot, but there, there's so much that man does not know. So there's that. Anyways, as mentioned, some believe that Prince knew that he was going to pass away very, very soon. And this song is a bit reflective. And in reality, just a couple years after this album was released, he did pass away. As far as performances, I don't believe it's ever been performed live. I didn't write that down, but I don't think it has ever been performed live. But it's Prince on all vocals and instruments, Leanne LaHavis on vocals, Delilah on background vocals, and String Genius on strings. Here it is. We're doing Affirmation 1 and 2, which is Leanne LaHavis and Prince. And then we're going to go right into Way Back Home. So let's take it all in, starting right now.
The interaction with members of the opposite sex, we're going to have to debrief you thoroughly over the course of the next few sessions. Today, though, we'll just start off with some simple affirmations that will be automatically induced to your memory temple.
I got to make sure that I start this because I can't do an automatic thing this way.
Affirmation number 1.
Hang tight.
There are no such words as me or mine. Words of this nature were introduced into society as a control mechanism which systematically divided the subjects first individually and then as a collective. From now on, any person or object whatsoever that requires your attention
all right.
is something that has viewed
I'm back.
and preordained destiny of total enlightenment.
Brian, potty mouth. Okay, anyways. Keely, thank you for saying it was a nice enlightenment description. I don't know if it made sense. It was making sense to me in my head, but as the words were coming out of my mouth, I wasn't sure if I was communicating it well. Thank you. I appreciate that. Giselle, thank you. You said I explained it very well. Brian, potty mouth. Brian, I think that you and I would actually be very, very good friends if you lived somewhere close, but Leanne says that's just stupid. Sorry. What were you talking about that was stupid, Leanne? Oh, Donna, that's kind of nice. People come in your life as a leaf on the tree, some as a branch, and some of the roots. That's deep. That's deep. I don't know where you got that from, but if you made it up yourself, you need to make sure that you document that. Brian, some are woodpeckers and termites. Absolutely. All right, we don't have a whole bunch of songs. Just a few more songs to go. It's good. Yep. I got 1 minute before we got to get back on. All right. Everybody enjoying yourselves? Are we having a good time? This is a long album chat. This is, I mean, Tyler Perry came up with that. That's actually shocker. I love Tyler, but I've never really known him to be too philosophical. I know TD Jakes. I could see TD Jakes saying something like that. Or somebody like that. I can't remember. Matter of fact, I was just reading Tyler's book. If you guys ever want to read a great book, this is a really, really good book. Reposition Yourself, TD Jakes. Read it. It's really, really good. Hold on. And that was Affirmation 1 and 2 and Way Back Home. And now that takes us to the next song on the album, which is Funk and Roll. Again, for those of us that are here, we're here. For those that are just joining us, I don't know where you've been, but we've been here for a little bit. We are talking about Prince's album Artificial Age, and we're talking about track by track by track, kind of going a little bit about the history. Sometimes we go down rabbit holes, which is kind of what I'm infamous for doing. I try to kind of dig a little bit deeper as to the song meanings and kind of trying to understand exactly what he was saying and what he was trying to communicate. And I didn't really, for me being a Prince fan, I really didn't pay a whole bunch of deep attention to his lyrics until way later on in life. Some people are lyrically inclined when they listen to music, and some people are musically inclined when they listen to music. I've always been musically inclined. That's the first thing that grabs me. And then sometimes I'll dig a little deeper and try to kind of understand what the person is saying, but those times are very, very few and far between. But I do realize that as I've gotten older, I've gotten to the point where I feel like I need to really dig into some of these things. And especially when we do these album chats, I want to kind of bring a little bit more to the table than just rambling and saying, this is when it was recorded and who's playing on it. And on this particular time, Prince wrote this song in a bathroom stall when he had an upset stomach from eating too much tofu. It doesn't make any sense. It's pointless. It doesn't really make for a good album chat. And so there's that. All right. Next song. We've got a few more to go, and then we're done with this album chat. And some of you are probably saying, thank God. Anyways, Funk and Roll, next song. It appears on 2 albums. The 2 albums were released at the same time as I opened up this album, Artificial Age, and Third Eye Girl's album, Plectrum Electrum. They were both released on the exact same day. And this song, Funk and Roll, is on both of the albums. There is some distinct differences between the 2 songs. Not as distinct as This Could Be Us, but they're very, very similar. I think Third Eye Girl's version is a little bit more raw. What ends up happening particularly with the Third Eye Girl version of this song is that it's raw. It's all of them. It's Prince and Donna and Hannah and Ida, and it's a more raw feel. What happens on this album is it kind of gets the edges get a little bit more polished, but it's still the same. Anyways, this version is just more polished, and Prince and Third Eye Girl do actually perform this track on the Arsenio Hall show on March 4th, 2014. And there was also the release of the studio version of the song, this one here that we're about to play, along with the song Fall in Love Tonight that he did with Zooey Deschanel from New Girl, that was released on Los Angeles. It was a Los Angeles radio station, KJLH, on March 6th. In 2014, Warner Brothers also did a pretty cool lyric video. I don't know. I'd never seen Prince do a lyric video, but not one like this. And it was a really pretty cool lyric video that they did for it on my birthday, November 18th in 2014. And although people were still a little bit wary about the whole Warner Brothers thing, since this was a fresh announcement that he was doing business with them again, it was really weird because he made the announcement that he was entering into a new contract with them, and it just felt like, didn't we just get done with him talking about how Warner Brothers was the devil and he was a slave, he was their slave? It just seemed weird. It seemed like there's no way in the world he's ever going to do business with these guys again, ever, ever, ever. And now all of a sudden he's making an announcement. He's got a new contract with them, and everybody's like, what? And now Warner Brothers is, releasing lyric videos, and everybody's like, am I supposed to like this? Am I not supposed to like this? Am I allowed to like this? Because, there was that period of time after he freed up from Warner Brothers where Warner Brothers was releasing albums that were not really, I still remember everything was going on. Like when The Vault came out, Songs from the Vault came out, which had a lot of great songs on it, by the way. And then there was that greatest hits one that Warner Brothers released, The Very Best of Prince and whatever. And I remember the talk among the Prince community of everybody saying, don't buy that, because that's all you're going to do is to support Warner Brothers. Don't do that. If you buy that, then you're supporting Warner Brothers, and none of the money's going to Prince, and da 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 da. And now all of a sudden, Warner Brothers is releasing stuff, and we're now supposed to be good again. It's kind of like getting back together with an ex, right? It's like, is this okay? Is this not okay? Are we good now? Are you going to key my car again? Are you going to, steal my dog? Are you going to, am I going to come home from work and then your clothes are going to be gone? Are we back on track? What's happening? Anyways, it was a whole weird thing. As far as the song, again, it's another one of these party songs that Prince does, which doesn't have like a whole bunch of deep meanings, but there's a couple things in here where he's actually doing shout outs to Mother's Finest, who I love very, very dearly. They are from Georgia. We're based out of Atlanta, and I love Mother's Finest. Matter of fact, I got an opportunity to do an interview with them, a private interview in person in the backstage. It was just so amazing. They're such a great, great band that's never really seen their due or been given their due. Mother's Finest. All I can tell you, he does a couple shout outs from one specific album called Another Mother Further, which has Baby Love on it. And a bunch of, you have to pick up these albums from Mother's Finest because they are phenomenal, just phenomenal. But anyways, the lyrics in this song do mention Another Mother Further, which was kind of a shout out to the Mother's Finest album, Another Mother Further. Prince also did actually cover their song called Baby Love in the One Night Alone. I mean, not One Night Alone. It was Indigo Nights. He actually covered it. That CD that was in the book for the 21 Nights in London. And they also say that Prince's song Hard Rock Lover was yet another nod to, which is not on this album, which was yet another nod to Mother's Finest, since Another Mother Further also had a song on it called Hard Rock Lover. So this song is yet another one that, again, I said it's straightforward. It's a party song. It's, just about staying positive, leaving the haters to hate. It's $1 million party to their nickel and dime. He loved using that nickel and dime analogy. He used it to measure up people. He's a nickel, she's a dime. He did it all the time. The unreleased song Silver Tongue, he talks about, you will drop me like a useless dime. And not even just to measure people. He talked about in Raspberry Beret, he worked at the 5 and dime. In the song The One You Want to See, every nickel in this club is looking for a dime. In the Daisy Chain says body like a dime piece. Mr. Goodnight, all the real dimes, hold your hand up, and there's more. Even Janelle Monáe's song that I guess he wrote, had something to do with giving them what they love. He writes 2 dimes walk into a building. He loved the nickel and dime analogy. Basically, dimes are worth twice more than what nickels are. So it's like, you're twice as good as me. And it's, it's just a value thing. It's whatever. It's Prince on all vocals and instruments, Hannah Ford on drums, Ida Nelson on bass guitar, Donna Grantis on guitar, basically Third Eye Girl, Joshua Welton as well, doing some percussion stuff behind. Sometimes it's tambourine, sometimes it's clackers, sometimes it's cowbell. I think he was on he was on, was it Montreux Jazz Festival that he went on with them? Yeah, I think it was the Montreux Jazz Festival, was kind of the Third Eye Girl set up, and Joshua was standing behind Hannah the whole time playing like cowbell. Prince loved the Third Eye Girl lineup. He told Rolling Stone, "No one can play like this band. People are going to try, but they won't be able to." And he's right. They had a very, very distinct sound for sure. Here it is, Funk and Roll, which is track number 11 off of this album, Artificial Age. We only got a few tracks to go and then we're done. But here's this one, Funk and Roll, right here on the Funkatopia radio show. Almost clicked the wrong thing. Yes, Dangerous. I am a Scorpio. Well, let me go back. Okay, where we live off here. I'm about to look. Yes, they are always. He's got a lot of deep lyrics. I think Stevie Wonder actually was talking about Prince and was talking about how the lyric stuff that he would do, and he was saying that Prince's lyrics are so vivid that you can kind of envision everything that he's talking about. Sometimes there's a lot of songs like this one that are just it's there's anyways. Yeah, Adriana, this song probably is a little bit funkier. Oh yeah, we only got 2 more songs in this album. Not 3, just 2. Dangerous said, "No more talk of his death, please, and thanks." Well, we got these 2 songs kind of deal with death, Dangerous. So I would maybe you check out for a couple more songs. You shouldn't. You can handle it. You're good. We have to work through it. You have to listen. You have to focus on the fact that he is gone. Branham, he's gone. He's no longer with us. And we were blessed enough that he gave us so much music to dig through over the years. So much music. There was so much stuff that's there. Unbelievable the amount of material that he left behind. Did you realize that the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe Edition has over 60 unreleased tracks and that still doesn't tap the well? Most artists don't even do that amount of songs in their lifetime. And this is just scraps from stuff. Scraps. It's just unreal. The dude released 40 albums. And I mean, unreal. Just unreal. So there's that. Just make sure. Anyways, oh shoot. What was that? Adriana, I meant to show you some of the stuff I've been collecting for Patreon for the next gift wave. And you got to tell me what you want. Yes. Yeah, Prince's album is mind-boggling. But yeah, anyways, Brandon, what I'm saying is you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Adriana, you're still here, right? I think you are. I want to show you some of the stuff I'm collecting. Obviously, I put up this new edition that just came out. This one that just came out. This magazine just came out. That many people are saying is similar to the one that they released before, but it's got some differences from what I understand. I also picked up brand new, shrink wrapped Prince Life and Times book. This is a good one, hardcover book. This is also going out to some Patreon supporters as well. See? Oh shit. And that was Funk and Roll. I was totally unprepared. I was sitting here chatting with all of our Facebook folks. Facebook.com/Funkatopia. I'm actually doing video and I'm talking this whole entire time in between songs. And I was actually showing some of the gifts that I was actually going to be giving to some of the Patreon supporters. Patreon.com/Funkatopia. If you love the radio station and you want to support what we're doing here, the 24/7 radio station, as I mentioned, not only do you get all types of different things. I send our Patreon supporters gifts. They get shout outs. They get mentioned on the website. I actually handpick and purchase a lot of Prince gear and memorabilia, and I send them to the Patreon supporters. But there's even a level that you can actually take over the radio station for an entire hour every single month. And matter of fact, I think this one coming up is one. Matter of fact, John Frost, who is a Patreon supporter, he actually uses his hour every single month to do what's called the Friday Night Frost. So this Friday coming up is the second Friday of the month, and we do a concert every single Friday night, the second Friday of every month. That is John Frost radio show. You can have your own radio show, an hour radio show. Of course, John's goes a little longer sometimes because of the concert thing, but you can have your own radio show on Funkatopia right where you're listening right now, where you can advertise maybe some of your business. You can do lots of different things. It's really cool. We kind of limit some of that stuff, but you tell us what you want to do for an hour, one hour every single month. You tell us when that is. And that's, certain levels of Patreon supporters get that. And most of that level of Patreon supporters don't even take advantage of that. They're just like, yeah, we just want to support. We love it. We love your radio station. We love what you do. And there's that. But some people actually take advantage of it. So that all being said, that was Funk and Roll. Where if you're just joining us, you're coming towards the end, you're going to need to definitely rewind and do some stuff. And we will be posting this, matter of fact, for Patreon supporters, but we will be making it widely available as well. Also, I wanted to kind of, while we're here and we're kind of getting closer to the end, actually, I'll talk about this later. I don't want to keep interrupting the flow of this album chat. After the album chat is over, I want to make an announcement about what we're going to be doing with all of these album chats, because we have done all the albums of Prince's since the very, very beginning. This is his third to last album. We only have 2 more album chats to do. We still got Bria Valente's album and also Third Eye Girl's album, Plectrum Electrum, that we want to do. And then we've pretty much done all of his albums. And so we're going to actually have a house for that. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later on. I've already said most of it, so I should just finish it, but I don't want to. So we're not going to. We're going to move on. We are going to be moving on to the next song on the album, this Artificial Age album chat, which is Time. It's the second song that Prince duets on with Andy Allo. And while this song by its title could have actually probably been a little bit more, probably could have worked a little bit better with the storyline, it really didn't. At least contributed to it in some form. It's called Time. And it's about somebody waking up 45 years in the future, for waking up from a 45 years drug-induced sleep. But that's not what the song's about at all. It's about Prince wanting to spend, or Mr. Nelson wanting to spend more time with a girl. That's it. There are some sound effects at the beginning of the song that feature Prince dialing on a phone. When it first starts, he goes, doo, doo, doo. And also the sound of a match being lit. Basically, he's lighting a candle to be romantic, and he picks up the phone to try to call this girl, tell her, just to tell her how much he needs her. And he's also giving her lines like, "Let me put you in my little cage. And I bet the sound would be a rushing tide splashing all over you," all this stuff. But he played the sound effects when it was a finished product, after he kind of added all these layers and things. And he played it for Andy Allo. And when Andy Allo was on the show back in 2014, she told me that she kind of expressed concern to Prince about, she kind of expressed concern to him about the sound effects. She was like, I don't really know that people are going to get this. And actually, I actually have that clip of Andy talking about her concern about whether or not people would get it. And here it is, Andy, from the Funkatopia radio show in 2014, talking about the song. Here she is.
Other song on the record where he and I duet together. And this was such a fun song to write and record with him. It's really interesting because at the beginning of the song, you hear, the phone gets picked up and a number is dialed. And we were sitting in the studio and Prince, picks up the phone and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. We're gonna dial this number. And I don't know who we called. And I was cracking up because I was like, I don't know. I was like, are people going to get it? That you're calling up somebody because you want to talk to them and you're like setting the mood with lighting a match. And because there's a sound of a match being lit also.
And that was Andy Allo talking about her concern to Prince that people weren't going to get it. But, once again, Prince is firmly aware that people are Prince fans specifically. And matter of fact, I stopped the clip at that point when I was pulling that clip from the interview that I did with her. And I said, she asked me, she goes, did you notice that? And I told her, I said, as a Prince fan, we're just kind of acclimated to it. We expect that. All those little things that Prince adds in the background that most people wouldn't notice, those little ambient pieces that create ambient ambiance. They are part of the layering of how he creates moods for songs. Like with Lady Cab Driver, it's not you're hearing the cars, you're hearing the windshield wipers, like even before the song Free, you're hearing the windshield wipers go back and forth back in 1999. And Lady Cab Driver, there's, the street sounds of honking horns. He loved sound effects. And so as Prince fans, I think we kind of got just used to hearing those types of elements integrated into his music because it just created texture, and that's what he liked to do. So while Andy, was concerned at the time that people wouldn't get it, I think we all get it. We definitely all got it. We understood what he was saying. We understood the mood that he was trying to set. But again, we're just used to those little segues and sound effects, and it's paint a bigger picture. And there's probably no better artist to use a paintbrush musically than Prince. So it really doesn't matter. It is Prince on all vocals and instruments, of course. The lovely Andy Allo on vocals, which I would like to take an opportunity to say, I am so proud of you, Andy. I know you listen to the show. Andy, thank you so much for all your support over the years. I know you said you're going to come back on to do another interview, but your career has just been taken off. You got all these acting things and everything. I am so proud of you. You just keep on going. When you get a chance to stop and kind of catch up and check off some boxes, please make sure you come back. And, again, thank you for all the support over the years, Andy. I really appreciate it. Love you, dear. The first and last live appearance of this song is only one that they know of. It's the only known performance. And it was during the Prince Piano and a Microphone tour, February 21st, 2016 at the State Theatre in Sydney, Australia. Here it is, the next to last song on Artificial Age. It's Time, right here on the Funkatopia radio show. Welcome to Funkatopia Live. Is that the first time I've said Funkatopia Live all night? I think it is. Here's Time. I don't know. All right, where are we at? Let's see where I left off. Dead air. We got dead air somewhere? Okay, I just want to make sure, Rodney, you said dead air. Was there any point in time on the app where the mic wasn't on? Please tell me that was not the case. I don't know what you mean by dead air, but that would really suck if anyways. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, let's talk. Yeah, so we get all these people that support the radio station, and really my only goal when people support the radio station, the primary reason why people support the radio station, or that we need people to support the radio station, is for the ASCAP licensing fees. This radio station being on 24/7, I have to pay fees to ASCAP licensing so that I can legitimately play music, so that the artists get paid. Now, granted, they're not getting paid any great amount of money out of what we're doing here, because ASCAP licensing fees are based on the volume of listeners, and it's also based on how much revenue that you bring in as a station. So we don't bring in a whole bunch of. Thank you. Sorry. Anyways, there's that. So one of the things I like to do, I always feel like when patrons go out of their way to support via patreon.com/Funkatopia, when people do that, I feel like I want to give you guys more. Not just the radio station, not just cool clips. I want to give you stuff like the Collector's Magazine. I want to send you stuff like, there was a time I had this donor that was just kind of over the top, and I sent her, I'm not kidding you when I say this, I sent her a record player. Along with a vinyl copy of The Family. And now, granted, it was a cheap record player. It was like one of those little ones, like Kohl's one or something. But I did it. I swear to you, I did it. But I've got these books. I want to send these out. These are cool. This is not vinyl. I don't know when this was issued. But that's that. I got that. And I got the magazine that I showed you guys. What else I got? Oh, and and just so you know, I've got 3 copies of this book. So I got 3 copies of these. This is going out at some point. Also got a Prince logo vinyl to put on. You can put it on your car. So that's something for somebody. What else I got? Oh, I also got this collector magazine. I've actually got a ton of collector's magazines. I got stuff too, like Morris Day's tour book. I've actually got this too, Morris Day's tour book. I had a backstage pass for one of the tours, some backstage passes from one of the tours, Princess tours. So I got lots of collector's items and things. So that's normally what I do, and it's just kind of really just based on, the level of involvement that they have as a supporter. Matter of fact, Sheila E. is actually coming into town here in Atlanta, and I'm actually taking a Patreon supporter to the Sheila E. concert, front row, taking them to the Sheila, assuming that the concert stays on and doesn't get canceled. I'm actually taking a Patreon supporter that's based here in Atlanta. I'm taking them to the Sheila E. show. So we're going and, we're actually going to go and hang out for the night. And, of course, he couldn't let it be. He said, I'll buy you dinner. So it's like, whatever. It's at the City Winery here in Atlanta. So as it stands, the show's still on. So I guess I got the tickets and he's getting dinner, but we're going to be hanging out. Cammie actually sends wine to her favorite people. Cammie, I love you so much. I still have a bunch of wine. So anyways, that's part of what we do here at Funkatopia. It's not just about taking. I want to make sure that if you become a Patreon supporter, that you feel like, you're valued as a supporter, and it's the least I can do. And as long as I can pay off the ASCAP licensing fees, as long as I can make all those ends meet, I'm golden. It's great. I would love to bring Sheila on the show, but I don't know that the questions that I would ask her she would be a fan of. So there's too many questions I really need answered. But we're working on that. Here we go. Hold on. And that was the song Time from the Artificial Age album, which brings us to the final song on the album, Affirmation the Third, or Affirmation 3, basically. It is the final song on the album. I remember I had this, my daughters like Prince a good bit, but they all have their individual songs. Like my youngest daughter Jaden, she likes Raspberry Beret. She likes I'm dreading the day that she actually understands the lyrics and some of that stuff. But she likes Raspberry Beret. She likes Starfish and Coffee. She likes Let's Go Crazy. She likes Controversy. So there's some songs that she actually likes. My older daughter, she's a little bit more particular about the songs that she likes. She kind of likes a lot of the neo soul vibed stuff. She likes stuff like Solange and things like that. And Affirmation 3, the final song on Artificial Age, happened to be playing on the radio station one day when I was sitting in front of the radio station and I was working and the songs were just playing. And she was like, I really like that. Who is that? I was like, that's Prince. And she goes, I really like that song. So this is one of my daughter's favorite songs, which is awesome. I love it when my kids dig a little bit deeper into Prince's vault and into his library and actually pick songs that I guess are just a little bit more, not the top 40 is basically what I'm saying. I'm trying to find a fancy way to say that. There's no need to. Anyways, yeah, she does love. Yes, Rashida says she should like Rainbow Children too. Yeah, she does. She likes a lot of the tracks off of Rainbow Children. She likes that vibe. And so again, here it is. Affirmation 3, the last track on this album. And it's the closing track featuring Leanne LaHavis once again. And she is once again giving him more instructions on how to adapt to this new reality of waking up 45 years into the future. And one specific really important nuance of this new reality is how they communicate telepathically, which makes things move so much faster here. And I thought about how cool that would be to not have to actually say something. You could just communicate with your mind. But then I decided maybe that's not great. Maybe that's not a great way to communicate after all. Maybe that's not it. Because if people could see or hear and understand what you really thought about them or about a situation, it may be good for transparency, but it seems like being able to communicate telepathically may create a little bit more problems than it would solve. It would definitely be tough to find friends for sure. I mean, if you walked in front of somebody, if everything you thought in your head but never thought out loud was all of a sudden out there for everybody to read, I just can't imagine how that could be good unless you had some type of control about what they saw in your thoughts. But like if you immediately thought something negative about a person, they would just walk up to you and look you in the face and go, oh, well, here's a thought for you. Anyways, it seems like there has to be a science to this whole communicating telepathically to be worked out in a way that makes sense. Anyways, This is technically a continuation of the song Way Back Home from earlier in the album. The songs were recorded and fit together at one point, but then they were broken apart, kind of similar to how Joshua Welton got a hold of, that one song and then remixed it, and it ended up becoming Mr. Nelson and then being put on Hit and Run Phase 1. This song was remixed a little bit the same way, but it was put on the same album, just kind of closing it out. Another two songs that could be melded together, but I'm not going to do that to you again. Even though it was really cool the first time, I just didn't want to. It was cool, but anyways. All that being said, the album does end on a positive note by letting you know that you should focus on yourself. That is your ultimate destination, is you. Focus on you. Focus on fixing you. Focus on bettering you. But at the same time, also learn how to have gratitude, how to communicate gratitude, how to appreciate people more, putting yourselves in their shoes, but still not losing sight of you. So the song has never been believed to have been performed live. It's Leanne LaHavis on vocals, Prince on all instruments. Joshua Welton does do some percussion here as well. Delilah on background vocals, String Genius on strings. And then there's Kenny Holman on flute and Kathy Jensen playing clarinet on this song. It's the last track on this album from Artificial Age. This has been a long album chat, right? We're closing in on 3 hours here on this album chat. And here it is, the closing track. We've reached the end. It's Affirmation 3 from the Funkatopia radio show and Funkatopia Live. Here's the closer. Wow, there is a lot of people on the radio station right now. A lot of people. Let's see. Let's see. Right, exactly. That's what I was talking about. Keely, that's exactly what I was talking about. When your spouse comes in, does this make me look fat? And you're like, shut up, brain. Anyways. Let's see here. Let's see what else. Rashida says Sagittarius has already saved their thoughts out loud. I think there's a lot of people that actually do that. I'm like that. I don't really do the whole horoscope thing, but I was Scorpio, and we're known to be pretty blunt. So if I'm feeling some sort of way, I'm probably going to let you know about it for sure. I'm probably going to let you know about it. So this just way. Adriana says, my 41-year-old daughter knew the words to Head when she was 6, and I had to explain to her that she couldn't sing it around grandma because she didn't like Prince. Yes, it was probably not a good song for you. I've managed to keep my kids kind of keep the age-appropriate stuff of Prince's, or the age-inappropriate stuff away from them. They have access to the entire library now. I'm still waiting for songs like Head and Jack You Off to appear on TikTok. I'm still waiting for those and can only imagine what that's going to end up unveiling. But yes, that's going to end up being very, very bad. For sure. Let me stop this annoying scroll thing. I was just kind of... We're done. Anyways, yes, lots of cool stuff here. Lotus Blossom just became a Patreon supporter. Thank you. I appreciate that, Lotus. Thank you so much. We got a new Patreon supporter tonight. Awesome. Yeah, Rashida, sister. We got 20 seconds here. I always thought he was just talking about, like, you know, oh, you're my sister. But then, of course, he had to throw in the line, incest is everything it's said to be. Kind of left nothing to the imagination there. All right, here we go. We're closing it out. Fill you up. Yeah, Keely. And there you have it. The entire album for Artificial Age. That's all of it. That's everything. And I hope you guys thoroughly enjoyed this album chat. It was a very long album chat. As I had said before, one of the things about this album chat is that many of the albums are about 7 to 8 pages worth of notes. And so they normally take about a couple hours to go through. This particular one, although it's not an extraordinarily long album, it's a good size album. I don't know what it clocks in at, but it had 14 pages of notes. Plus, on top of that, I had a bunch of cross references and whatnot of clips and all these different things. So I hope you guys had an amazing time tonight. We will actually be releasing this in its entirety. I think there'll be the video version where I'm talking in between. For those of you who are only listening on the radio station, you got to hear the songs and you got to hear some of the descriptions. But if you were following along on Facebook, facebook.com/Funkatopia, you got to watch the video. And of course, you got to hear a bunch of chatter in the middle, some that kind of expanded on some of the songs. Most of it's just cutting up and being silly. But hopefully you guys will be able to enjoy that as well. I'll make sure that I release it. So we're going to tie up a bunch of things here since we're closing in. We got 3 more minutes before the end of Funkatopia Live. Thank you so much for tuning in. And that's all I can say on that regard. I hope you guys learned a lot about this album because it's a really, really good album and there's a lot of information. So I hope you guys walked away with some new knowledge about this particular album and the tracks contained herein. As I had started mentioning before, we've done every single one of Prince's albums since the beginning of, since his first album, For You. And we've done all the albums in the entirety all the way up to this one. We've only got 2 more left, and that's Hit and Run Phase 1 and Hit and Run Phase 2. And then we will be done with Prince's discography. We will be going back to finish up Bria Valente's album Elixir, which was pretty much all written by Prince, and Third Eye Girl, also almost pretty much written by Prince. But we wanted to kind of do something a little bit special with those because we know that's a limited audience. Some people didn't really appreciate those albums as much as the ones that actually just have Prince's name on it. We want to make sure that you enjoy yourselves when you're listening to those album chats. So we're trying to work to do some special things with those. And on top of that, we're probably going to go back even further and, cover all the remainder of the Time albums. We've done Ice Cream Castle. We've done that, but I want to cover all types of stuff. I want to cover some of Jesse Johnson's albums and just a lot of different things. So we're going to go back and we're going to do some really cool stuff. So just stay tuned. Plus, on top of that, Dwayne Tudall's new book comes out towards the very beginning of next year, which is going to be amazing because it's going to cover a lot of stuff. So we're going to have access to a bunch more information. So we may actually redo some album chats, but we want to make sure that all of the album chats get housed in one location. We don't want to kind of bury them on Funkatopia. They're all over Funkatopia.com. But I wanted to take all the album chats and put them in one location. So we actually have not 1, but 2 domain names that we're going to be using to house these album chats. It's albumchats.com. That is going to typically house any album chats that we do. There's nothing on those domain names right now, so don't even bother. We're still putting together the site in the background. I'm still putting the sites together in the background. But also, the other domain name is princealbums.com. So we got princealbums.com and albumchats.com. Albumchats.com will take you to the main website. We'll be talking about all albums. And princealbums.com will take you to the portion of albumchats.com that does Prince's albums. Of course, we haven't really done any albums outside of Prince's discography, so that's going to be the main domain name anyways out of the gate. But those 2 domain names exist. princealbums.com and albumchats.com. We already own them. We're putting together the sites, so it's gonna be amazing. Another domain name we have that is being built as well is princecelebration.com. Princecelebration.com is going to be an online site that you'll be able to access on your mobile phone when you are in Minneapolis. So you can it's kind of like a tour guide in your phone where you can kind of go through and you can go see all the cool stuff like in Henderson and find out, where he first lived, and just kind of all the hot spots like First Avenue and, Lake Minnetonka, and all those things will be on princecelebration.com. And when the celebration at Paisley Park happens, it will also be utilized for as a little bit of a guide there as well. Not just for the things that are going on at Prince Celebration. We're not really going to do that. We don't want to step on their toes, but to cover the events that are happening in and around Minneapolis, which always happens. So, maybe Maite might be doing, some belly dance class somewhere, or maybe Jesse Johnson's going to be going over to Bunkers, and we kind of have a little bit of a schedule. And so you can start planning your vacation at Minneapolis. So all these websites are being created, which is an amazing, amazing thing. And why am I divulging all this stuff? Because I want to make sure that you understand that there's so much that is being created in the background. And I just want to make sure that you take advantage of all this stuff once we release it. And just so you know what's coming, just to kind of excite you and entice you a little bit. Next week for Funkatopia Live, it will not be a live show. I will not be here. I'm actually, I'm just taking a break. I'm taking next week off. And we are going to we'll do something special in that window. I don't know what it's going to be. I have no idea. We'll figure it out. So just hang tight. I'm sure it'll be something special. I don't know what it will be. Also, this Friday that we're about to embark on, we'll be doing Friday Night Frost, which is going to be a live concert of Prince's that will be airing at some point, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Friday coming up. But when we come back for Funkatopia Live on the 21st, once again, for those of you that missed it, my special guest in-house will be the legend himself, Funkmeister, Bootsy Collins. Bootsy Collins will be with us on the 21st, along with the First Lady of Funk, Peppermint Patty. So you need to make sure that you are tuned in. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope that you will. And there's going to be a whole bunch more things that are going to be going on with Bootsy and Funkatopia as well beyond this interview. We're not making that announcement yet. We're still putting together all the pieces, but you can expect a lot more involvement in all that. So you just, it's going to be great. Do not forget that if you want to support this radio station, you can do it at Patreon, patreon.com/Funkatopia, Funkatopia. You can also go to Funkatopia.com and click on Listen Live. And if you open up the radio station there is a little donate button. It should be on the mobile app, but for some reason it doesn't appear there. But on the you can do a one-time donation if you don't want to do a monthly thing, but it's perfectly fine. Lots of great stuff coming up. I hope you had a fantastic night. I know that we were already going a few minutes over. I'm going to turn it back over to the radio station. I know that we've been talking this whole time and we have been doing Prince. I will take all of the music that would have played in this 3-hour window. Instead, we did this album chat, and I'm going to move it into this next couple of hours so that you actually get another couple of hours with Prince beyond midnight. So there's that. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Thank you so much for hanging out for the album chat. Let's get to the music. I don't know what to even play. There's so much here that we could play. I think we're going to go with High. I'll start with the song High. I don't know particular reason, just because it happens to be here on the list. We'll see you guys next. No, we won't see you next week. I'll see you in a couple of weeks, and then just stay tuned. Lots of fun stuff coming up. And also keep eye on Facebook, facebook.com/Funkatopia. Keep an eye on that, because I will be doing a post about Bootsy Collins. And if you have a question for him, you need to go ahead and post it there, because that 21st show will not be live. It will be pre-recorded interview. I will be live, but the Bootsy part of it will be pre-recorded. He's not really a huge fan of doing live stuff. So I want to make sure that if you have a question for him, you can get it in, and we'll at least be able to get into the pre-recorded section. But for that, thank you. It's been an amazing time. It was a long album chat, and I'm so sorry if anybody feels like I'm never going to get this time back. You will, I promise you. I have been put into your path to affect your journey and change your life in some form or fashion. Thank you for tuning in to Funkatopia Live. Good night, everybody. Here's hi, and then whatever else is going to come up. I have no idea. Good night. Good night. Good night. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. I'm cutting out. I've been talking all this time. It's time for me to go to bed. Good night, everyone. We will see you soon. Again, next week I'm on vacation. I appreciate everything, and I'll see you in a couple weeks, but I am going to be on and off. So don't think that I'm tuned out. I'm just taking a little bit of a break, and see you in a little bit. Good night, everyone. Love you all. Mwah. And whatever else. That's not for the guys. That's just for the ladies. For the guys, what's up? Good night.